Absolutely. God, what is with that? Hold on a second. I'm tired of that shit. Okay.
Doc, can you hear me?
I can now.
Okay, perfect, man. We're about to start. We're gonna run an intro first, Doc, and then once we run the intro, I'm gonna let you rip, okay?
Oh, okay. Wonderful.
All right, brother. Give me 1 minute. Let me pop you off.
Oh, frankly, I've never told people that. Oh, let's talk. Hello, everyone. We're about to go live with the KOHER clinician. The KOHER clinician. Hello, everybody. We're doing a special edition. We're exploring this whole thing of working with multiple platforms at one time. This is a thing that the other bigger platforms should be doing, bringing people together across regions and platforms versus keeping it concentrated among 4 or 5 or 10 different people. We really do need to see as many people as possible.
I'm going to challenge all Black people for this 2024 election to stop going to your polling place and just voting Democrat, Democrat, Democrat without even knowing what's going on, just because you've been told to always vote for the Democratic Party. What has the Democratic Party done for us as Black people in the past, 50 years? Even the first Black president, he didn't do for the advancement of Black people in this country whatsoever. Barack Obama did more for the LGBTQ community, more for the gay community, signing laws protecting them and their advancement and their rights than he did for Black people the entire 8 years he was in office. So why are we still sitting up here voting Democrat when they don't do it for us? When we have old white men telling us, you ain't Black if you don't vote for me, but then he goes to the office and does absolutely nothing for Black Americans, but we sit up here and we vote Democrat every single time because we've been told to. Hasn't helped you, hasn't helped you.
Trade checks, I think we got one.
It's voting season, bruh.
No voting, no loving. No voting, no touching. No voting, no nothing. No voting, no fucking, no voting, no fucking. No voting, no loving. No voting, no touching. No voting, no nothing. No voting, no fucking, no voting, no fucking. BLK app looking for some action. Swear the homie Scott was hit. Face is a 9, abs is a 10, D is a to be determined.
There's a first for everything, and now I've been name dropped in the chart-topping rap song. Listen.
Well, shut up, Patriot J, Betty Johnson, Big Bongino, Alex Jones, free my dogs and lock up the radical left's gone crazy. I don't bail, I won't see inside a cell. Shout out Thugger, free my slime, slash, YSL. They tryna lock me up, but I'm plugged in ATL. Got homies doing life in jail, they living in hell. These DAs acting silly, my mugshot is worth a billy. So submersion made a milli, shot McMillie out in Philly. Shot the baby, shot the Sosa, Benny Butcher, them my rollers. Call me racist, but these rappers riding with me, them my soldiers. MAGA, 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 I am not who they are after. I'm just in the way they want to get to you, but I won't let them cold-hearted. No, I'm artist, getting back to where I started. I don't need to do the race, I'ma beat them Rico.
Premier Trump, and you ain't black.
I'm black.
I'm black. I'm black.
Yes, I'm black. I'm black.
I'm black. I'm black. I'm black.
I am black.
I'm black.
I'm black.
I'm black.
If you couldn't tell, we're black.
I'm black. I'm black. I'm black.
In black.
I'm black.
Joe Biden, man, I'm voting for Trump. Fuck Joe Biden, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Fuck Joe Biden, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Voting for Trump, the whole hood's for Trump. Fuck Joe Biden, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Blacks for Trump, Latinos for Trump. United we stand, and we standing with Trump.
Dear white people, will you take our vote? Why the Democrats always try to steal our hope?
I'd rather have a president with a mugshot than the president pedophile that we got. I'm sorry, Trump, I ain't vote for you last time. They was hating on you spreading lies last time. Made me relate.
Last couple of weeks, what that actually means. The men are simply not going to commit to a group of women that don't have a commitment bond in their body. Men stop.
Because I'm not getting married to a thot.
Men stop getting married. Men stop choosing these women for marriages. They stopped. They stopped dealing with them in a serious, committed manner.
not
and
serious.
say, okay, if you're gonna open up the floodgates to sex, and I think one more thing before I take the next call, I think that saying, I think people have a little bit misunderstood the saying of why buy the cow when you get the milk for free.
Right.
Women have all. That's
nasty.
partially true in my personal opinion. Because it isn't quite the sex. Men are not out here exclusively marrying virgins. So that kind of kills that. What, and this is just I've been thinking about
Marriage
this.
ain't nothing but a check. Because here in America, marriage has become a check. Now, he's not a passport, bro. He's not going to get on the plane or nothing like that. But he realized that here in America, marriage is nothing but a check. There's no value in it. American society don't value marriage like it used to. It gets given all power to the weaker vessel, the vessel that was deceived in the garden by the serpent, and that's causing destruction among our community in particular, and other communities as well. So with that being said, if women want to get married, they want to be valued more. Like say, I was watching Philo Scott a couple of months ago. They starting to clamp down on this what you like to call no fault divorce in certain. I forget the state though, but it's Republican. They realize that men are the ones who bring in the wealth to the country, or bring in the economic finances. When they them being passport bros because of the unfair law the Democrats are putting in, that they can't really, as you know, they can't have too many men leaving the country like that. So I think in this next election season, not to get on politics, but I think if number 44 becomes number 46, number 45 becomes number 46, then I believe that it's going to be on number 47, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. So I believe that if he become president, I think a lot of things are going to change relationship wise, because he's going to put in the laws that.
When men fail to lead, the children rebel and the women take.
Fall comes to us in its own time to escape.
Cognitive dissonance is a condition that happens for a myriad of reasons. Many times in modern America, men and women often do one of the following. They deny the evidence. They become enraged when you present them with the evidence. They argue ad hominem attacks, meaning they attack the messenger instead of the message. And they will fight you or flee because they cannot hear what you are saying. A condition such as this, tied into cognitive dissonance, often happens to those that have or lack self-awareness. They stay in a perpetual cycle of arrested development, exhibited by this. It's him no more. Ma'am, book a session.
Why do you think a woman who is average looking, below average physicality, below average weight, can sit around talking about they're going to hold out? Or wait, what are you waiting for? The answer is what many are waiting for is a sucker. They're waiting for somebody to go ahead and say, you know what? Even though you got 200,000 miles on you and had a couple of wrecks, I'm going to go ahead and pay brand new prices for it.
Hell no.
Fire. Clinician.
If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. Heaven and hell is what they told you. Real men put the strap down and we can toast them. Young heads picking back up and undone them. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician, masculinity issues. Absent fathers who miss you. Mama drama don't kiss you. All a part of the ritual. This is how they get you. Separate the men, women, clip and baby potential. Damn. Lovers, haters acting like vultures. If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. Listen. Listen.
All right, guys. Hope you guys can hear me. If you guys can hear me, hit 1. We got a powerful show on tonight. We got a powerful show. I got Dr. Randy Short in the house as we talk about more salient issues on tonight. You know, there's an old saying, guys, that says the more things change, the more things remain the same. And as we approach upon the 2024 election, it appears that pork chop politics appear to be on the table. And the same foolishness that besmirched us from the prior years is still looming on the table. Put your pens and paper ready, guys, as Dr. Randy Short and I are going to drop the fire for your mind on tonight. We're about to start this stream with Dr. Randy Short. Share this stream. Go support Dr. Randy Short, guys. We're about to have a good show. Because we need to have a
Well, y'all used to me by now. When I do something, problems occur. Just know that. Tech stuff, things break, bandwidth disappears, and I'll keep doing it. Just understand we must be really bringing some phenomenal stuff, because every time we get together, there's a problem on anyone's platform that deals
Dr.
with
Randy
you.
Short and I are going to drop the fire for your mind on tonight. What's going on in modern politics? Why there's so many black people continue to be slaves to pork chop politics? I think Dr. Randy Short got the answer, guys. What say you? Bringing to you live once again from the greatest state in the union, the Tar Heel State. where the topography is serene, pristine, and verdant green, where every day is Father's Day, and where manhood is part of hills and valleys, victories and failures, and whereas men, we don't agree on all things or ideologies, but tonight
Hey,
we come
Miss
together
Quiet
as
Scale.
allies of a common cause. Only to
White man
dissipate
to you,
once
Devin.
the crisis is
Hey,
over.
Mr.
Listen,
Hatcher.
I'm about to drop some fire for your mind.
Rodney,
Before I drop that fire,
how you
let's
doing?
explore why we are doing
Hannibal,
the
how
man
you
called
doing?
Chronicles.
Sidonian, how you doing?
All right, guys.
Epic
Dr.
Eric.
Randy Short is in the house. Dr. Randy is in the house. How you doing, Dr. Short?
Oh,
How you doing, sir?
I'm blessed. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear, brother.
Okay.
Loud and clear. Well, you know, Dr. Short,
Your sound just went way down.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Let me see if I can do something on my end. Go ahead and try. Let's see.
Can you hear me now, Dr. Short?
I can hear you. I have to put my head near the sound. Go ahead.
You hear me well?
Not well, but I can hear you.
All right. I tell you what, I'm gonna try to make some adjustments on my end. But as we get into the conversation, tell the audience who you are, Dr. Short, and why you're so passionate about the advocacy of Black men, but also in the contextual framework of politics.
Well, I'm a Washington, D.C. native. I live here with all the mess. I am a Black American descendant of English Moors and Aboriginal Indians from Virginia, Carolinas, and Maryland. Of course, Africans from all over. And basically, in a nutshell, I'm a Black man that lives in America that wants what's mine. And we can do there because a whole lot of introduction. I don't know. Either people are going to listen to what you say or not. I've been asked to introduce myself, and it made certain people, in particular weak, simplified, effeminate men, feel like I was boasting. You get asked to introduce yourself, and whatever you've accomplished makes them feel diminished.
Yes.
So I'll just do that. If people can't pick up that I know what I'm talking about, God help them.
But you know, Dr. Short, the old Christian church used to say, "There's a leak in this old building, but my soul gotta move."
Right.
It appears that the modern Negro don't want to move because there's an old saying that says that the more things change, the more things remain the same. But Harriet Tubman also once said, she said, "I could have freed a lot more if they did not already know that they were slaves."
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to differ with you. I think a lot of Black people want to move, but it depends on who doesn't want to move. Who doesn't want to move are the old boomer Black people. The old Black people, like the 30,000 people that voted for Biden in an uncontested primary in South Carolina. He didn't even have to offer or say anything, just show up in a church where a white supremacist like him killed some people, buy a box of catfish bites, and you win an uncontested primary, offering nothing. That's because of old, no good Clyburn and all the generations older Black folks who frankly need to die. They don't listen. They know everything. They're less educated than a lot of us, and they're stuck in their old ways. That's why we're not moving. We have not gotten rid of the silent generation and boomer generation leadership. We've seen the same people lead and dominate everything in our community for 60 years. It's too long. There are a lot of people that want something else. Nothing's been offered. I'll give you a very simple example. of how people are backwards, that are of that older generation, that just fight everything, that you can't even make a suggestion because you're not in the same birth order as they. My family genealogist, a man named Billy Davis, he was in charge of being the griot for the family. And Billy Davis looked like Luciano Pavarotti. He was so light skinned. And I actually knew Luciano Pavarotti. Okay. And he told the family that our origins go back to the 1840s. That's it. And we can't find out who the slave mother is, and we don't want to know who the white man that raped her was, and that's how the family started. And as a little boy, I says, "Well, can I know? Is there anything?" He specifically did not like me simply because I asked, "Could I know more about the family?" He would sit up and complain and moan about how people weren't serious. And as a child, I would pursue him, and he would shun me, even in public. He died 5 years ago, and within the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or I'll even say month and a half, I became very clear, because I've been researching, that there was never a slave ever in my mother's paternal line at all. Not one. But this was the old man everybody went to. You couldn't question him. He wouldn't share. He wouldn't give you anything. He wouldn't even tell you the names. And you just had to do what he said. And we all went with the family started in the 1840s. We don't know the mother's name. We know they're 3 boys. That's it. Now, contrast that old who died. And I'm kind of good with him being dead, because were he alive, the genealogical work the fact that the King James, who had the Bible written in 1611, is our great uncle. Mary Queen of Scots is my aunt. Elizabeth the First of England was my aunt. Margaret Beaufort is my 16th great grandmother. This is the kind of history we would have learned had this old Negro been open, but he had bought into the whole thing that who we are as a people were black slaves raped by white people. So let's just move forward, and that's it.
Dog, do me a favor, brother, because you're cooking. I love what you're saying. YouTube is crazy about the R word, so stay great because they'll shut you down. So you know, I don't care if you say it, but they really.
I mean, how is that a problem? I mean, they support pedophiles. They let all this stuff go on these platforms, and then we talk about a regular noun.
I agree with you 100%, man.
We need our own platforms. I see a day when all of these crackers, social media people, are going to go broke like MySpace. God hates the day. Speaking of that, all this censorship we've been under for decades from social media, not a one of those old broke down Negroes in the CBC has ever busted a grape. So the real issue isn't that we don't want to move. Certain people haven't died fast enough. And it's interesting, as much as they say black young people are bad, the younger generations are bad, we show so much respect for these old broke down boomers. We've literally not even been who we were to try to show we respect older people. What needs to happen is a rebellion against backward old black folks. Shove them aside. That's what needs to happen. It's the same way. Let me tell you, I took a cab from one place, and I was going back to my dormitory at Howard, and it was an old black cab driver, and he made a wrong turn. And you know, my grandfather owned the very first black cab company in Washington D.C. called Skyline Cab. So I respect cabbies. But I mentioned, sir, you could have taken this turn here, and he began to yell at me. I'm thinking, and you know what? He ended up getting lost, and I had to go off on him. And I said, you know, I can't believe that I have to talk to an older black person like I've got to talk to you. I'm the one paying. I know you don't treat white clients like you treat me. So what you're saying is I don't have to respect you. I can get lost and you'll still pay for it and have an attitude because I'm black and I'm old. We've treated age as if it means wisdom, integrity, decency, character, and intelligence. No, there are a lot of old, stupid black people. And they're the ones in charge. And we got a lot of old, stupid ways. And that's what's killing us on all ends, on both sides, even on the Republican side. I'm going to say this out loud. When Donald Trump was in the White House, do you know that he asked a group of black Republicans, what can I do to assure that I get black support in the 2020 election? What do they want? Tell me. Do you know that those old broke down boomers told him, don't do anything for us that you're not doing for everybody else. When you help everybody, you help us. This is what that's why black folks wonder Trump would have done a lot more. It's no good old boomer sellout, a fake Christian conservative black, I call them Republicans, who told Trump, don't do anything special for us. He was told, he went and asked, and he was rejected. And I'll say one of the people in the room, Alveda King, you were there. You didn't open your mouth, Alveda. You know me. I'm not afraid. Let's have a fight. We got old, weak, cowardly, head scratching, booty picking, cotton picking sellouts. Democrats, Cornel West is a socialist one. They're all scared old people who like rubbing buttocks with white folk and drinking coffee at the same bar, and that's enough for them. Their tangible was association, sex, inclusion, and just them. Our problem is we've been left for dead by these kinds of people on all the political spectrum, including the communists and the no-good Pan-Africanists, those old raggedy Negroes with dreadlocks, who want reparations for people in Africa. And we've got to fight for everybody black to get reparations. And yet those same folks who have bastards everywhere don't pay child support. Their families are more jacked up than the old woman in the shoe. And they want to save everybody in Africa. It's a whole generation of raggedy old traitors, because I've had gray hair since I was 11. Okay, I turned 59 on Friday. So a lot of people should send me a donation for my birthday. But white hair doesn't mean you're smart. But in our community, we venerate anybody that makes it. It doesn't matter if they sell dope. Like the biggest dope dealer of all times is my cousin from LeGrand, North Carolina, called Frank Lucas. He's my cousin. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Way down. What's that county? Wilson County. Wilson County. Wilson County, North Carolina. Oh yeah. No, my family's been in Wilson 300 years. Okay, so if he died recently, but he had gray hair, did that make him good? Did it make him righteous? As a preacher's kid, some of the most foul people in the church were the old folks who were amputees that couldn't be wicked anymore because God had afflicted them. But we go to church and see someone old, and you figure because they can't get up and grab your groove or your butt that they're holy. No, they've aged out. They can't do the same kind of wickedness on the level anymore. But then they do another wickedness. They don't tell the truth or impart what they do know. They don't say, you know, I was a stupid old hoe. I dogged the men that came my way, and I ended up with kids I couldn't take care of, and they're all in jail. And I got the Holy Ghost, but you know, I would have rather had the Holy Ghost and my kids be out of jail and my kids not be in the bastardy. So these older people, not only do they fail, they lie, and they want to look better. And we have to right now. We need to go into a 20-year period of total rebellion against anybody that doesn't fight for tangibles and demonstrated tangible things that you can measure. Then you need to shut up, sit down, or even better, be in a funeral parlor, and I'm not bringing flowers.
Right. Shout out to my man Gregory Scholar for the $5. He said, salute kosher. Black men got to move on from silent boomer and Generation X mindset of following black women's ideal of what it means to grow. I appreciate it, Brother Gregory.
Can we talk about that? I agree.
Yes, sir. In 1 minute. I appreciate it, Brother Gregory, for the 5.
You got the number, right?
Donate. It's my birthday week. Y'all been stingy. Y'all have been stingy all of December. And I don't even celebrate Christmas, but you could have got me a gift.
Dr. Short.
Y'all was stingy. I'm not talking about you, Brother Juan. My platform, I've had 36,000 views in 2 months, and folks have been stingy. Stingy. And y'all the same ones that buy the $900 Bible from the white supremacist preacher. Y'all sad. Y'all better send me, kiss me some money this week. I'm sorry. Kiss me some money. MFM, as we say, you can say that to you. Don't tell them, but MFM, mother, the F word, money. That's the way we say reparations on the Black Men's Book Club. So I want to say, where's my MFM for my 59th birthday? And I'm not a boomer. I'm an X, but he's right. Another problem that we have in our community is that we worship people with vaginas. Whereas I do believe that the vagina is the greatest thing, the Xbox. It was the first home business, the first Beazle. I mean, the vagina is a great thing, but it's not God. It's created. It ain't God. And I'm telling you, a whole lot of old boomer men and some of the Xers bought into feminism. And this is a big problem. Feminism is the greatest social evil in the Black community, and it's female dominated. It must be destroyed. Black men must ignore women. Let me tell you something. Women have a whole lot of wisdom, but sometimes women are dumb as hell. A good example of how stupid women are is that you need to go to a ultrasound and see the baby hopping around in you at 9 months pregnant to believe it's a baby. A woman on their way to an abortion clinic, and because they don't think it's a baby, but they're going to an abortion clinic. But when they see the baby in the ultrasound, they don't want to kill it. That's stupid. Abort means to kill. Fetus means baby. Did you think it was a beer belly and you don't drink alcohol? What made you vomiting? Everything that points to pregnancy you're doing. You're not convinced it's a child until you see it on TV in somebody's office with a $500,000 machine. It takes all of that to tell you it's a baby. I mean, that is how feminism has made Black women so incredibly stupid. And then when you say, well, we've got to put women here. In fact, I don't like going to church, and I didn't go to church today, and I'm not going to church next week or the week after, God willing. When you go to church, every now and then, if they are socially active, they'll say, oh, we're sending some young women to college. And everyone's clapping. The colleges are full of Black women. The colleges are empty of Black men. Black men ain't getting nothing. And 60 years, these churches, which if 9/10 of Black churches were shut down tomorrow, Black people would have a chance of surviving. In fact, I wish I could be dictator of Black people for like a few years. I would arrest all the crooked preachers in the country. Make them flip burgers. Actually do something for someone other than themselves and make them lose weight. Their wives couldn't wear a hat with a rim with more than a 36-inch circumference. I mean, I have a whole bunch of stuff to deal with them. We worship women in all the wrong ways. We need to love and protect women and worship God. And by the way, in cultures where people protect, provide for women and worship God, women are on code and they do what they're supposed to do. When you put women on a pedestal where you can't criticize them, when you tell a 900-pound black woman she's sexy, she is. If you're Jaws, I mean, she's not sexy. She is a health disparity statistic if she's 900 pounds. I mean, you got women in DC riding around in power chairs coming on to people. You know, I could break your jaw with my boob if I just pulled it back. I mean, what is that? I was watching a video of Diane Carroll sing As Time Goes By on the Ed Sullivan Show. It got released today. Diane Carroll was so fine. I got to see her once in life. I'll never forget seeing Diane Carroll just once. That's how beautiful, that's how feminine, that's how much she commanded her presence as a woman. Just seeing her go up the stairs, I'll never forget seeing Diane Carroll walk up a flight of stairs. I still remember that 20 years later, Diane Carroll went up the flight of stairs to the Women's History Museum. I saw it. I go down the street every day and I can't remember 9/10 of the black women I saw because they look so bad. Because they're not present. You've got your butt cheeks exposed out of your pants. You don't have drawers on. You don't even have a thong. And we put that on a pedestal. And by the way, all black women, even the old liar, boomer black women, they're not calling these women out because they love the rebellion against men. I don't care how old. The ones with all the raisin-sized moles on their face, they love the confusion because men aren't in charge.
He's a raisin-sized mole. Hold on a minute, Dr. Short. Shout out to my man Salty Balls for the $10 cash app. And Salty Balls, you're the #1 sponsor of the stream, brother.
That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
Some of the boomers enjoy the conversation.
That's a deal. All right.
Well, I appreciate you, my man Salty Balls, for the $10 cash app, $10 support, and you are the #1 sponsor. Guys, share this stream. Dr. Randy is a man of wealth. And listen, me personally, I care about things. I love the fact that you're intellectual and you're free. But this YouTube machine, words like great, abortion, or whatever, they're censoring. I don't like it, but hell, ain't nothing I can do about it. And it'll get your channel shut down. So I don't personally care about you saying certain things. I love your energy. I love your boldness. I love your tenacity. I love your ability to speak truth to power. But the machine is very pernicious. And I agree with you. It becomes a time where men need to speak out boldly, speak out clearly, and speak out intelligently. Because once again, power never conceded to anything without a struggle. It never have and it never will. And that's why this conversation is so important. But I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, Doc, because you're a very brilliant man, and I love your acumen. What's the question? What role did Lyndon B. Johnson play in the breakdown of the American blacks, in your opinion? We know what it is, but tell the audience what role Lyndon B. Johnson played in that. And I'm going to listen to you and let you go.
Who? James Weldon Johnson?
No, Lyndon B. Johnson.
Lyndon Johnson is basically, he's like Jesus to black boomers. Okay. He's a false messiah of black boomers and silent generation black folks. But we need to remember that under Johnson's leadership, several of our most important black spokespersons got killed. That's King and Malcolm X happened on Johnson's watch. People seem to forget that. They put that on Nixon because he's a Republican. We need to remember that Johnson created the omnibus crime bills that led to the mass incarceration of Black Americans. We need to remember that Johnson's policies were sacrificing Blacks in Vietnam. We need to remember that Johnson was responsible for bringing down the government of Kwame Nkrumah, who was trying to bring Africa together. Johnson was with the oppression that Baby Doc was doing in Haiti. Johnson was involved in helping the people kill Black people all over Africa, Angola, Mozambique, Cape Verde, and Guinea-Bissau. He helped support the Portuguese. Johnson is the person who listened to Dr. Ravenholt, who came up with the whole policy of working to eliminate 1/3 of Black people globally through the Office on Population, which is in the USAID. Johnson also said, if we give Negroes a little bit, they're going to vote for us 100 years. Basically, we're not really going to help them, but we'll make them think we're helping them. Johnson was a very, very, very wicked man. And he's also the person, again, who sponsored eugenics, which is to get rid of us, to kill us off slowly. This came under Johnson. Again, the omnibus crime bill to punish Black people for the urban rebellions. He's the one that started this mass incarceration thing. Most people don't know that. People don't know that Johnson called out the United States military, and they were prepared to put Black people who were rebelling against atrocious treatment in concentration camps. That's who my father would say was the Negro's best friend. I remember having an argument with my dad. I couldn't talk that much in 1969, 70. I knew that the man wasn't what everybody said, but my dad talked me down. My dad was a boomer. Oh, Black people live in the past. It's like, that's why Black people like Frankie Beverly. All of his music sounds the same. He's never made, there's no new chords. I can't stand hearing Frankie Beverly. It's not that the music isn't good. It's always the same.
When you think about Dollar Short, I call it so many of the boomers need to go through what's called a semnosis, which is a hypnosis. But they need to go through a semnosis to more or less understand why they continue to vote for policies that even Elmo can see as a detriment to the well-being of a so-called Black community. We continue to get besmirched and deceived year after year. It's almost like it's a mental illness. What do you think is the greater contributing factor to this mental disease where Black people continue to vote for policies? I don't care about the parties, but I'm talking about policies that are to the well-being of a faltering Black community.
Well, there are a couple of things, and I'm going to just go there. There is a trinity that keeps Black people stupid. I'm going to say religion in general, in particular, the Black Christian church leadership, although they're what I call crescent coons. These are sellout Muslims that want to be dune coons instead of Black. Okay. So we've got, and by the way, the Black church is nothing but an extension of the Divine Nine and the Masons and Eastern Star. The Black church has been hijacked by Luciferians, old broke down Luciferian Negroes who want you to think that the Elks and Masons have so much power and they've done so much great in the Black community, and we're burning wreck. So that's part of the Black church is part of the problem. And the good news is that those pastors push that mandated medicine, and a lot of lit folks put everything up inside of them, and they're dying in droves. We're not going to see a lot of the old. They've decimated their congregations. They got paid. I don't know if you know, the preachers were paid to push medication on their congregations, and they killed.
Yeah, I've heard that, Doc.
No, not heard. It's a fact. United Way, through Reverend Calvin Butts and Abyssinia Church, who's died, probably from the medication he took. All of these folks are dying. They joined the plot to kill off black folks, and no one could say others. Now they're dying. We're not going to see a lot of these people anymore. They're gone. They were dumb. Nobody, I mean, Tuskegee didn't mean anything to them. And a lot of these same people are in these organizations. You're going to begin to see the old ignorant people and their families and people that thought like that, that went with the okey doke of President Biden, these other people. They won't be here. And the way I feel is they won't let you reach them. They won't let you teach them. They won't let you share. I've had people cuss me out, and I've been holding a peer-reviewed medical publication. I mean, how am I? I mean, I went to the very heights. These are people. Let them go. We try too hard to save everybody. My thing is, let them go. I don't care anymore. You can't help them. I remember being a teacher, and you've worked with youth. Remember, you couldn't. Everybody wouldn't let themselves be helped. You could only help a few. Most would show you that you couldn't make an impact. It is that you couldn't. They wouldn't let you. We try too hard to save people that don't want to convert or come along.
That's true.
Let the dead bury the dead, says Jesus.
Yes, sir.
I love that verse. Now, so you've got the churches full of old people that are dying off. You've got these Greek letter organizations dominated by old people. Okay. And I'll put with them the secret societies. And then you've got these no good civil rights groups like the National Association for the Assassination of Colored People, Urban Greed. All of these groups are full of old black people living in the past. Okay. And the nice thing is that these groups aren't growing, they're dying. The point is that, but these old black people want us to die with them. And we have to say, no, you're older, you keep telling me, and it's your time to go on to glory if you're really going there. Where you've led our people, I don't think that they're going to glory. There're going to be a whole lot of old black folks with canes and wheelchairs and walkers that are going to hell because they ain't lived nothing, didn't tell nobody nothing, ain't invested in nothing, didn't learn anything, didn't read a book. You know, I've talked to people that do consulting for churches, and there were certain people that they didn't want computers in the church. They didn't know how to use almost everything that was now they objected to, and you had to work around. I used to volunteer for Carter G. Woodson's Associated Press or whatever the press that Carter, and it was a couple old black women in there, and they would do everything with scissors and the old typewriter, and they didn't want anybody that wasn't old around. Period. Don't even come around if you weren't like 60. You were seen as a threat.
Right.
So this generational bigotry is really strong, but it's dying. And what people have to do is withdraw. I didn't say don't believe in the Bible, don't believe in Jesus Christ, but why get up behind T.D. Jakes? And in North Carolina, why do y'all believe in that greasy, fat preacher, Reverend Barber? You look, I'm gonna tell you something about Reverend Barber because a lot of black folks in North Carolina like him.
Right.
Reverend Barber and I happen to be in the same denomination, although I don't participate anymore. Reverend Barber was part of a group of ministers that include Ben Chavis, who's from North Carolina, and others. Okay, yeah, I know Chavis is from North Carolina. I remember Wilmington 10. My big brother was helping to raise money. One of my mentors got the money that bailed the Wilmington 10 out. Brother Charles Cobb Sr. Okay. I've been around a little bit. And what I'm going to say to you is I got in trouble with Reverend Barber and other black ministers because I, finishing Harvard Divinity School, didn't think that Jesus Christ had sex with his disciples. I repeat, I don't think Jesus screwed James and John.
Right.
They did.
Wow.
Not only that, I don't think that David and Jonathan did it. I don't think Naomi and Ruth did it. I don't think so. The Bible doesn't say so. And I made the mistake of talking to who I thought was a Christian minister who was in Connecticut. His name has escaped me at the moment. To tell him how Harvard was teaching all this crazy anti-God, anti-biblical stuff. And it was terrible. You can't make everybody gay. I get it if you want gay folk to be treated well, pointed to the second commandment, but you don't have to make Jesus a queen to get decent treatment for people.
Right.
And it just so happens I went to visit a pastor who's in the United Church of Christ, the main Black church that pushed for same-sex marriage and all this stuff is the United Church of Christ, of which Reverend Barber is a pastor. Greenleaf Church in Greenville, Virginia. North Carolina. Oh, yes. And Greene County. Yeah, I'm saying something. Let me tell you something. Went to see Ben Lewis at Lincoln Congregational Church in Washington, D.C., telling him I had been trying to get in touch with Ben Chavis for years and couldn't get through. And he says, you can see Ben Chavis right now if you want to. He's in Columbus, Ohio, or Cleveland, Ohio. And he says, no, he's at the Howard Inn. Howard University used to have a hotel on Bryant Street and Georgia Avenue. It's now the Howard University Bookstore, African Studies Department, where I got my PhD from and other things. So he drove me up there. And when I got to the second floor of the Howard Inn, I heard all this screaming. I believe the guy's name is Ed Edmonds. He was a really strange congregational minister, and they were screaming, he has to be stopped. Stop him. Stop him.
Who said that?
This is what Ed Edmonds said. I was in the room. I just heard the screaming of this old man.
Right.
I came in. I had resumes, sat down at the table. I passed my resume to Ben Chavis. He looked down and he looked at the other people. Reverend Barber was at this big, long table. And I learned after the meeting, a pastor by the name of Reverend Edie told me I had been blackballed by the United Church of Christ Black Ministers Group called Ministers for Racial Justice, Mrs. J. Now it's called Ministers for Racial and Economic Justice, because I was a dangerous radical. I was trying to think, what had I said or done that was radical? And I realized this man was mad because I didn't think Jesus screwed the disciples. And so all of these people, including that Jerry Carroll Juice looking Reverend Barbecue, that big fat greasy preacher that shouldn't have been going to see The Color Purple anyway, but he probably likes the theme. They all blocked me because I didn't think the Son of God did men. Right. That is who you guys in North Carolina look to as leadership. And his running buddy, who has cancer up here in Washington, D.C., is, God, don't let me forget his name. I'm getting old. The pastor of Plymouth Congregational Church, who's no longer the pastor because he's sick, told me, this is his running buddy. They basically said Jesus Christ was gay. That's why he was on the cross.
Wow.
This is the leadership, and these are old Black preachers. And this brother's name will come to me in a second. But that's who's leading the churches and all of this strange stuff. Reverend Hagler. I know you've heard of them, because they were down there fighting around. Yeah, all believe this super strange sexuality stuff, and therefore illegals, and they're all up for. That's what we have in the church, the civil rights organizations, and usually there's an overlap between them being Masons and Greeks. They're for feminism. They're for everything our community doesn't need. and they control our community. We need a regime change. We need a putsch. 100 years ago, Adolf Hitler was on trial for trying to overrun the German government. The beer hall putsch. The trial took place in 1924. We need a putsch. We need to kick these people out. And if you can't drive them out, quit the organization. When the NAACP can have people on its board that are sympathetic towards pedophilia. Yes, I said that. Yes, I did. And I'm going to tell you something. Remember when Ben Jealous left the NAACP in 2013, 11 years ago? Hmm. If you go back and you look, you can only get a few people out of the 64-member board of the NAACP to say nice things about Ben Jealous. One of them is Reverend Barber. Why did he just leave the NAACP? And why, when he ran for governor in Maryland, the NAACP didn't endorse him? Why wouldn't the Maryland NAACP chapter endorse the former head of the NAACP to run as a Democrat against a Republican? What is it that these folks are on where all this stuff is going on? It can't be good. Why do you just renew your contract to head the NAACP at their convention in June or July of 2013 and submit a letter of resignation in September of 2013? I mean, who does, how you say you go hold a job 3-4 years, then a couple months later, oh, I changed my mind? Do you really believe that something didn't happen? And they had the big, what is it, 50th anniversary of the March on Washington, where 500,000 people came. The NAACP had this big clam bake. And then you suddenly walk away from it all? Didn't something happen? Do you understand who we got leading us? There's a whole lot of corruption. Fannie Willis, her Petunia pig looking self, she ain't the only dirty person out here. Letitia James, dirty Letitia James up in New York, who looks like Lou Ferrigno without the green dye on. I mean, you got this strange Uncle Fester looking Karen Bass running New York. The mayor of DC looks like Arsenio Hall. I mean, you got Butterfly McQueen looking mayor of New York, Eric Adams. You got this dude that looks like Barbara Jordan as a trans man, Johnson, that runs Chicago. You got Henrietta Hippo, Sheila Jackson Lee, who says she cares about reparations. And HR 40 has sat on her desk for 3.5 years, and she hasn't moved, if not 4 years. All of the, and she ain't even a Black American. She's a Jamaican.
Well, what is HR 40, Doc?
It's the agreement to discuss reparations that Congressman Conyers had. And frankly, I don't ever think that HR 40 would have gotten anywhere because people had so much dirt on Congressman Conyers. And I'm not trying to be funny when I say to you, I think I got a glimpse of Congressman Conyers in his drawers in his office because the door was cracked open. What kind of man walks around in drawers in their office? But and I'm not against Conyers. I'm just saying, but he was in his drawers with his shirt on. I mean, who does that? This is a kind of corrupt leadership. These people come to Washington to be freaks. They get caught up in the orgies and the drugs. They don't come here with the plan to help us. Look at how these illegals coming to this country get more rights, more tangibles, more benefits, more immunity from the police, attacking the police than us obeying the police. Somebody negotiated this, and I want to let you know every single solitary Black church in this country that is in the National Congress of Black Churches, every Black civil rights organization or any that pretend to be Black, every Black Masonic order and secret society is in the Leadership Conference for Civil and Human Rights. All are in alliance with the illegals, the gays, and the feminists. Who they're not allied with are black people. And that is why you can have Hindus who hate, or Sikhs, because the woman down in South Carolina, Nikki Haley, because that's how she got where she is, Nikki Haley. She's an Indian. She's half the melanin, twice the freak of Kamala. Kamala's a Brahmin, passes a black. And there's a silence that Nikki Haley is responsible for black folks not having access to health care by the hundreds of thousands in South Carolina. She and Clyburn and that, forgive me, all Republicans aren't good. You know, we know that Tim Scott looks like a cross between the Cosby Kid and the hee-haw donkey that knocks open the door on the opening of the show. Ain't never done nothing too out there. And all of these people running around saying that there's no racism. So you can get a sorry Republican too, or Republican, and you can have a Democrat. What we have to be about, as you said earlier, are policies that deliver for us. We outnumber a lot of groups in this country, including Cuban Americans. And yet Cubans get more respect. And they do all kinds of stuff, bring way more dope in the country than we could ever consume. And they get respect. Look at how the Arabs up in Michigan have refused to see Biden. Negroes in South Carolina fell over themselves to go down to Emmanuel Church. I wish Dylan Rolfe had been there that day. He picked the wrong day. If you go heard some, he should have been there the day Biden came. It's ridiculous. So,
let me ask you a question, Doc, because I got a lot of questions for you. You've done a great job, by the way. Some of the brothers loving your commentary. Let me ask you a question, because I do respect your beliefs and some of the things you believe in. I know you don't agree with all my positions, and I probably don't agree with all of yours, but I do respect it. But I'm gonna ask you a question, Doc. To talk about the black woman in America, in what role, Doc, would you say was compromised by these so-called elites, and what role does she continue to play in facilitation of the oppression of a dying black community in your opinion, Doc?
Well, black women are in leadership of the destruction of the black community. The minute that they got out of order in the late 60s, early 70s, and they've been there since, black women are the lead element in the destruction of the black community. First of all, through abortion. We've got all these dead babies. We'd be over 100 million people outright if killing babies didn't seem treated like it was, getting a pedicure. Folk making TikToks and getting abortions. That's one. Also, mate selection, deliberately picking the worst black men to procreate with. Having grown up in an academic and intellectual environment, my experience has been black women bypassing quality men for men that they felt could give them the bigger bug or the bigger buzz in their clitoris. So being satisfied and pleasured all the time was more important than family creation. So who people choose to lay down with, what they choose to do as a result of what they've laid down with, the fact that they've de-emphasized and devalued motherhood and devalued grandmotherhood and devalued being wives. They've basically act like that's not important anymore. Black women have been a major catalyst in the destruction of the black community. And because black men are sorry, because black men worship the vagina instead of God, you should thank God for vagina, not the woman. She didn't make it herself. It's not like it's a sweet potato pie. She was born with one. That is the problem. The other thing is that black women support eugenics. Black women are silent about things like trafficking. Black women have been silent largely about the dispossession of black teachers who are primarily female. So the education of the youth has been turned over to people that hate us. The women have basically tried to be black men and they failed, and it's killing us. Also, the women have come and they've become dominant, not in just numbers, but in terms of influence and power within the corrupt institution that is really religious real estate, Inc., that we call churches. As the women have become more important in the churches, you can't criticize homosexuality. You can't talk about bastardy because that hurts women's feelings because some of that pertains to them. So we no longer can have right and wrong to make women feel good. We can go further. So if we start looking at the crime, I'll do more. The women collude with the courts to destroy the black family. You have a woman divorce a man. She teaches the children to hate the father, which destroys the whole desire to create families for the boy and the girl. Yes, they do. And you cheat, you commit fraud against the state and the father by denying him the opportunity to see his own children. So they've wrecked the family, and there's a conspiracy of silence. And all the black women that disagree, they don't do a damn thing about it. So they are, the gays say, and the women are allied with the gays, I'm coming to that, silence is consent. The silence of black women who've seen all this over the last 60 years say that they're good with this garbage. I don't want to hear any until I see black women out here telling these women, you don't need all that weave. You need to take the blonde off. Okay, I see men doing it, women beginning to. It took Kevin Samuels, who was assassinated, to even begin to just talk about stuff. You're not high value with 8 bastards at 400 pounds. You're an insurance underwriter's nightmare. Nobody wants you. You don't want yourself. You know, one place that you'll never see a fat woman go into at a carnival, it's called the Hall of Mirrors. They make a beeline right around it. They know how bad they look. Fat isn't pretty. I grew up, everybody wasn't fat in the 60s and 70s. You remember, what do you mean? I'm big bone. No, you're fat. You're overweight. You eat too much. What happened to good home? They've done other things to ruin the health. They want the processed food. What happened to good hometown cooking, down home cooking, grains, what we ate for centuries? You want the convenience. So wait, you don't cook, you don't mother, you don't wife, you don't love, you don't teach your kids to read, and you don't screw. And I'm talking about years at a time, married folk that go to church that make it rain on that sissy, take dicks, jakes, and yet they won't even make love to the man that they said I do. If I do, it means stretch him wide and hang him high. I'm talking about your feet and hook your husband up. You know, on my salt thing, I'm going to give a sermon, and my sermon's going to be give him some you know what for Jesus. Bless that man with the cooch you have. I mean, what are you trying to do? Raise black widow spiders down there? That man needs to be hit up. He's working. These women talk about him cheating. It's because you've outsourced your jobs, holes. Screw these men. If they walk down the aisle with you and you so big, they probably have to move the benches aside. He's with you and you can't give him any. Don't want to have no kids, don't want to cook, don't want to love, want to fight all the time, want to watch TV and eat bonbons. You make $20,000 a year, he makes 30. You call him broke and you brought the bastards to the relationship? Are you kidding me? You are aligned with the gays. You think the illegals are fine. You start looking, I'm going to just say, you start looking at almost everything that matters. And it seems as if, and I'm not saying all the women, they don't know they're being manipulated. But the feminists, it seems like the more mannish, the more ugly, the more brute, the more disruptive a woman is, women seem to get behind them as leadership. I'd like to see some feminine, Diana Ross looking black women leaders versus women that look like, you know, the what's that thing called? Lamisil character. You know, the little stuff you get on your toenails. You have women that look like they're the Lamisil icon, and they're the leadership for black women. They'd find the ugliest black women and put them out front. And black women don't say anything. I mean, like Shirley Chisholm, looks like a moose with the wig on. They don't need no movie. They need to shut that thing down. Pull some black plastic over it. What happened to the beauty? Stop looking good. Stop taking care of oneself. I mean,
Right.
and not only that, they pressured their own husbands. I heard this. People were forced to take that poison to please their spouses. And everybody knows that the rollout for the mandated medicine was a United States military propaganda project. And women, like, they listen to the snake in the garden in Genesis 3. They listen to the same snake called Fauci. And so a whole lot of folks, I was talking to a wonderful sister that you must have on your show named Sister Keisha. She's the one that helped bring down the pedophiles in New York. She's lost 26 family members within the last year. They're just dying in droves. If I told you there was a brother who supports me, heard his mother was sick, I didn't want his mother to die. I began doing everything I could to save his mother. His sister got in the way, and his sister told me, even though I said sister, she said that her mother wouldn't live if they took her off of remdesivir. And and that's, these women are out of order. They were never meant to lead a people. They're meant to help support and be alongside Black men, not out front. We need to yoke these holes and put them in formation. No more discussion. We need patriarchy. Matriarchy has failed us. Matriarchy is genocide. It's a genocidal family situation going up against patriarchal societies of everybody in the world. America's the most diverse society in the world. They're all patriarchal. We're matriarchal. We're dying. They're growing. Who's wrong? Black women, and I'm going to use this word, fagonist. A fagonist is a Black male feminist. He hates Black men. He hates patriarchy. He's all up under women. He doesn't necessarily like women, but he worships a vagina. And he's an idiot. And he might be a Greek or Mason. And he thinks just going along with whatever, if women want it, makes him cool and popular with women. And he loves being against his brothers. He's an antisocial, narcissistic wreck. A lot of Black men are fagonists. Just because you got on top of a woman doesn't mean that you have the authority of a patriarch. You're a trick with a dick. You're not a man. You're a fagonist.
That's your question.
I don't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I do now.
Yeah, I want to show you something, but what do you think about this woman? And also, can you hear me?
Yeah, you need to stay close to your mic when you pull.
All right. Gotcha. I don't know what's wrong with this thing, but let me show you something. Hold tight.
She's your queen to be, a queen to be forever, a queen who'll do whatever His Highness desires. She's your queen to be, a vision of perfection, an object of affection to quench your royal fire.
You have any kids, Victoria?
I do. I have 4 children.
Looks like she has 10.
20, and I have an 8-year-old.
That's 3 ages.
I have twins. They're 20.
The 20-year-old twins. All by the same man?
Yes. My oldest kids have their own dad, and then my 8-year-old has her own dad.
So that's 2 men?
Yes.
Have you ever been married?
No.
This proves that the lovely ladies of the community don't understand math. This proves that the lovely ladies of the community don't understand economics. This proves that the lovely ladies of the community don't understand money. They don't. First, they think that brothers making six figures is ubiquitous. They are not. Black men making $75,000 for them. They're not even 15%. They're more like 13. That's number one. Number two, brothers who make 50 grand more than that, put them into the 120 range. Now you're looking at less than 10% of black men. They are literally the elite. And you're saying that these brothers ain't good enough to get the kind of women they want. They got to settle for a can of busted biscuits. Are you freaking kidding me? You've got to be kidding me. That shit is insane. But I knew that this was coming.
Loser ass. Your video with comments about a loser female, just to let you niggas know we don't need y'all. We want y'all, but we don't need you.
20 years later.
Our black men, we want all y'all back. Because we love you, we see you, kings, and most importantly, we need you. And most importantly, we need you.
And most importantly, we need you.
You can't.
If you a that's for the street.
You can't delete the ski. You can't delete the ski.
I know him who used to suck dick every fucking night. Go ahead. Dr. Short, Corey Hogan said, you can't delete the ski. You got a generation of women that are not cool. They don't respect masculinity. They don't respect truth. They don't respect family. They think they're better than the average man.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, Dr. Short, when did this delusion begin? In your opinion, when did this delusion where average to subpar women think they're better than their men, in your opinion? Go ahead.
Well, first and foremost, that exists in the ecology of the fagonists, the simps, the BFers, brother effers. There's a kind of black man that hates black men, doesn't like black women, but loves the black woman's orifices. And a lot of them like their anuses too, maybe more than the front side. I don't know what that's about. So black women are following the degeneracy of a lot of men out there who like this. Not all black men are complaining. There are a lot of black men that love all this chaos. In particular, a lot of this emerged out of, we're going to call it, W.E.B. Du Bois talked about it. It's called bastardy. When you have a culture full of unfathered children and families that do not have men, you have what's called bastardy. Bastardy brings about another thing called anomie. Anomie means the absence of norms. The horror culture, the sexual revolution that the feminists and the other white supremacists that black people latched onto, have all the sex you want. I can take a birth control pill and I can be as promiscuous as I was told men are. Women are copying what they've been told men were. There's a man by the name of Alfred Kinsey, to whom we need to have another discussion, you and I. Alfred Kinsey, the father of the American Revolution, who did books about American sexuality that was based on lies. And what the society was told is that this country was far more filthy and degenerate than what it was, and the laws and everything had to be changed to facilitate the real sexual character of the nation. And we have gone along with what America's done. We've become Americanized. We're the essence of America. Bastardy, where the mother, she can't run the kids that much longer after 10, 12, 13. Kids do what they want. Come on, you've been around. There were homes where you had a father, you knew be home at 11. Get home at 10. You might get beat for getting home at 10:59. Nigga, don't you touch me. Right? These women can't manage or don't manage these children. These women feel entitled to everybody's support, if not welfare, Section 8, WIC, SNAP, school lunch, after-school programs, mentors, all of that because you were a whore that had a child out of wedlock. Once we stop calling people whores, once we stop calling kids bastards, once we stopped, there was no penalty. Remember, what's that song? Love Child, Never Meant to Be, Love Child, Born in Poverty. That was a big hit. It was a bigger hit with white people than black people. A lot of black folks, yeah, white people made it the #1 record that knocked the Beatles out of the #1 spot. But Love Child couldn't move Johnny Taylor's nastier song above the Supremes' Love Child. We've had an issue of illegitimate childbirth for a long time, but it used to be a stigma.
It was a stigma, right?
But then we, oh, well, don't hurt the woman's feeling. It's not her fault. Hell yeah, it's her fault. You don't want nothing to come out, don't put nothing up there. If you don't want to be abandoned with the baby, then get with someone that's serious enough to stay with you to raise it. It shouldn't be an afterthought. I can't handle all these bastards. Let me find a stupid black man that I can guilt trip into looking past all of my blubber and my girth and my crude behavior and my tattoos and raise these bastards that are going to hate him for all the things that their biological father didn't do for them. And I know black men that go around, they actually think they're heroes if they step up and raise another man's bastards, or they think men that don't want to raise other people's bastards, you know, are stuck up. The black man has become a female, and the black woman has become a black male. And so when you have a culture of bastardy, I'm sorry, women don't hold it down. It's a damn lie. And we need to stop playing this. And you know, the people who keep praising women, when you go to church, it's these filthy preachers. And the woman, sweetie, you gonna be all right. And girl, you know, they never have anything nice to say about the men that are there in the church, but they constantly praise and they blow smoke up the rectums of the black women, right? Because it's a hustle. So the church is the biggest. It is a whorehouse with the spire and stained glass, and sometimes the best holes. I give them that. They have the best holes and good music. And although the food isn't that good sometimes. Look, that's the problem. We've lost our soul. Our people, following the civil rights movement and the free love thing, we turned our backs on God. Black folks have become paganistic, atheistical, immoral, increasingly, and we've lost our way. And in particular, there's been a myth that women are more spiritual than men. Look, I can't outcry. I don't have a wig to throw off in church. I don't wear pumps to break the heel on. That doesn't mean that I don't feel God any less. So you know what? In order for the churches to continue to grow, and they didn't want to offend, they let the women bring their baskets to church and nobody talked about it. We've sanctified fornication. We've sanctified all of this. The state of this so-called black church, it is a brothel full of greedy, obese, pedophile, grifter demons, male and female, that have refused to tell people the truth. You can't screw everyone. You can't be with everyone. You are a bastard if your father's not there. You're a hoe if you're not married to the person that you're sleeping with. A date isn't prostitution. In fact, 50-50 is proof that you're not a prostitute. If he's paying for everything, what does he get in exchange for his money? It sure ain't your company or conversation because you're not present.
Right.
We've become an ungodly people, and our women are ungodly. Just because they go to church doesn't mean that they're godly. And our women get up behind any cult. Who were the majority of the people that died in Jonestown? Black women. Those women knew that Jim Jones raped women and children. Sure they did, and raped men too. And they still fought into South America. The women get behind, Malachi York. Women get behind Polite, Nature Boy. Name the cult, name the thing that's degenerate, and they gravitate to it as long as the people lie. You want to see a black man that's probably single? An honest black man. But if you lie, girl, you so fine, you gonna make my mama come, right?
Right.
Right. And all this queen stuff. Look, if you're a queen, where's your royal demeanor?
True.
I mean, I don't see any royal behavior. I see slave behavior, pigsty behavior. You sound like the prodigal son and you ain't had your corn cob. You are not a queen. And if you've got a blunt in your mouth, you're all macho. In fact, I'm going to tell you the biggest thing also, black men, we think that the only way to have a woman is for her to have low standards. Because if she has high standards, she might not be able to meet them or not trying to. So we celebrate. Black men are the only men in the world I know that treat lesbianism as if they're superheroes. So you got these mannish black women. I mean, they look harder than Mike Tyson. Isn't that Serena Williams looks like Mike Tyson? I think she's bigger than he is. You got these women that look super mannish, and brothers are talking about how fine they are. What is that? I know guys who end up getting turned out because they think it's okay for their woman to have a woman, and then those women get together, conspire, and steal everything he has. And they're such punk liar phonies. They can't come out and tell the truth. You know, I was a sucker. If a woman can vibe with a woman better than she can with you, you're already done. You're just a living dildo. And a lot of black men have such a low self-image, they don't mind being a living dildo. As long as my dick is so much she can hate me. I had a dude right down the street from me who got stabbed in the neck by a woman, but after with the blood coming out his neck, well, I got some pussy. I'm thinking, do I need to get stabbed in the neck for some pussy? And so black men are Baal worship. The Bible talks about Baal. Those were black people that worship freakiness, that would have sex everywhere. All these folks saying we Hebrews. Well, if we are, we're in the Baal worship. We worship sex and frivolity and baby killing. And that's what's happened. We've lost God. And we put money, we have all these idols, and we put God in the toilet, wiped our behind with them, and tossed them after we thought with civil rights laws, we'd be able to run with white people and nothing would matter anymore. And then that kind of faded out. And then they brought out OFAGA. And that, Obama was the magic bullet that was going to make us just as if we were white. And there's still people clinging to Obama. They want to bring out Shell. I hope that's a woman. I hope so. I mean, because I'm a lot of, y'all gonna have to get a refund for your book if that's not a woman. We hate God. And that's a big problem with black women. Black women hate God for making them women. Okay. And yet they don't like black men. You wouldn't be a white man if he made you a woman, idiot. You'd be a black man. So I don't know what they're on. And God bless Kevin Samuels. I feel like pouring a frankincense libation for him. God bless you, Kevin Samuels. You are everything. Yeah, I do my frankincense libation for Kevin Samuels. He was.
Well, I got something for you, Doc. But hold tight, because you can talk and I love you. But hold tight. Shout out to my man Gregory Scotland for that 10. He said, Coach, this is why male-centered content is so important. Women don't need to be involved in every conversation that we have. Many are at odds with ideas. I totally agree. Shout out to my man KP from KC5. He said, 5 for your mind. He said, salute Coach and Dr. Short. He said, get your Rumble account set up. Doc, you're a very intelligent man. I give it say you want to get some bodyguards, but you speak your mind. and I know you live right up there in D.C. Have there been attacks on you, Dr. Short, for being so vocal? Because you're telling the truth. And like we always say, we don't agree on every position, but I agree on a lot of things that you say. But where do you get this tenacity from, Doc? The being a caring caller that you are, and doing it unapologetically in a time where people are afraid because of censorship. Because I agree with you 100%. American black men have become, not all, but many have become weak. They don't damn stand for anything. They let women disrespect them. They have the lowest standards, in my opinion. You got women that weigh damn near 400 pounds. Like this woman I showed you a minute ago. When you and I were growing up, you're a little older than me. I'm 52, you 59. Well, if a woman that was ran through back in the day,
I'm 58. Like I'll be 59 on Friday.
Okay, well, $59 on Friday.
Yeah, so
okay.
yeah, tell them to send me something. Kiss me something
Okay.
for my birthday.
Well, listen, Doc is a very brilliant man. Send Doc to show love, my he's a brilliant brother. He also you got a book club also, right, Doc?
Yes, the Angry Black Men's Book Club.
All right.
Absolutely.
Don't check out his book club, but check out his YouTube channel. Well, tell me the name of your channel, Doc.
The Angry Black Men's Book Club, and I also have Salt Ministry LLC, and we're doing our series on God's message to Black Americans. And the last sermon we just did, I don't know if you saw it, but it's Loose Dicks Sink Ships.
I don't know what that means, but
no, it's saying that we can't put our penises ahead of the fate of our people, and godly men love and should like sex. His first commandment was get yourself some. Didn't he say be fruitful and multiply? That's before you heard thou shalt not kill. He said, Adam, get busy, get yourself some, boy. I made something for you. And he didn't give him a sex doll. He gave him a real woman. So God is pro-sex, but God is anti-promiscuity, anti-sodomy, anti-eugenics. And we as Black men have been diminished and pretending that our manhood comes through our penis, because our manhood comes through God, the creator. You're still a man, because there are a lot of Black men. The reason that we could have told you ain't nothing if you ain't laid up with someone. You know, we're just the opposite. If you travel outside the United States, in the developing world and anywhere else, a woman is nothing who hasn't gotten a man. In America, the Black man is nobody if he doesn't get a woman. And the same racist, supremacist manipulation system tells a woman they don't need a man. So the Black man, he looks bad in front of his male peers because he doesn't have a woman. He can't get the woman. The Black man has been attacked by this matrix, Luciferian matrix of confusion. And the Black man hasn't figured it out. You can break the game. Women ultimately decide who they're going to stay with. We can't buy them. There'll never be enough money. When these women say, I want a millionaire, they're basically saying, you've got to buy this. And yet they'll tell you, I'm not an object and I don't want to be objectified. Garbage. You do want to be objectified when you run around with the price tag on your vagina, letting everybody know what you go for. You've objectified yourself. You've let everybody know that my vagina has a price. When you put a tag on it, you're no longer in it for love. It's like, it's like a future. It's your vagina's your pork belly, and you're throwing it on the open market to see if you can get the price that you want. That isn't love. And we have to bust that. And there are way too many deviant Black men that call themselves players and ballers who've been able to accommodate this promiscuous, wicked HIV, AIDS, and syphilis, and gonorrhea, and chlamydia, and herpes spreading culture that we have. It's unpleasing to God, and it's gotten us to this state. Alongside white racism, supremacy, credit redlining, everything they've done to us, we then murder, kill, rape, infect, destroy, sodomize, molest one another in this culture where we worship the vagina. In fact, dudes talking about body counts. You know what? The only person that should be happy with the body count is a mortician. It's a pitiful man whose woman has more air miles down there than a 747. You're a pitiful man, okay? And a bunch of Black folks can't have children. They're sterilized from the STDs that they got. Nobody talks about this, because if you start talking about STDs and sterility, a lot of Black women can't have a baby because they've got fallopian tubes that look like Swiss cheese. You had too many people scrape up in there like they're Benihana. Now you can't have a baby now that you met a good man. And now you got women stealing babies and all kinds of stuff. T.D. Jakes' daughter tried to steal the baby. That's something going on right now. You didn't know that? Oh, T.D. Jakes. He ain't, man, he's so fake. And sisters love T.D. Jakes. And you know, he looks just like that actress. Remember that movie, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? Yes. You saw the movie, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
Pendergrass. I'm not Teddy Pendergrass.
Sidney Poitier. Okay, yeah, and the woman that played Sidney Poitier, B. Richards, I think her name is. TD Jakes looks just like B. Richards from Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. All of these guys, they look like women. The women look like men. I mean, TD Jakes' wife looks like Charles Barkley. Remember?
Sounds like a man, my 2 cents for the $10 super thing. Guys, go support Dr. Short. Dr. Short is a brilliant man, very intelligent, unapologetic in his masculinity. He speaks truth to power, and he's one of the last clarion callers that you saw in me yesterday. You know, Dr. Short, many people love Donald Trump, but I want to get to that because you're a wealth of knowledge. But I want to ask you a couple of questions about Trump. I want to run this clip before you, and then I want to talk about the Kevin sandwich, because one could argue in this loaded question that Marxism is at work in the destruction of the current American fabric. I want to also argue, Dr. Short, that it's been what's called a Hegelian dialectic to bring order out of chaos. I want to argue, Dr. Short, this has been brewing for the last I probably since the acceptance of the Americans. You live in D.C. And one will argue this is proliferated to something that's totally out of control now. It bothers me, Dr. Short, when I hear so many ignorant people saying, save the community, black love, but you're not going to save no damn community, Dr. Short, when you don't respect and honor the men of that said community. It always starts with the head, because the man is the image of God. But you got a lot of folks, Doc, that want, a vibrant black community, but you don't even respect the men. You want men to take bad deals that you're talking about. Chicks that have had a lot of men, and then they want you, Doc, after they had all their fun, they want to shame you, Doc. And like that woman that had 14 kids, they want you to take care of all her children, not some. Dr. Short, they want you to take care of all. I mean, all the children.
Well, sir, I just said, if it's not my cum, I'm not the one. Have the baby with me, or you can go free. I mean, we need to, down at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, they have a seed bank, and they guard that seed bank. Your sperm isn't. It's not sand on the beach. You were blessed with sperm. It doesn't belong in every orifice of the same sex or orifice. You need to understand that sex is spiritual, and your sperm is sacred. And what you do is you denigrate the blessing that you're able to create children by throwing that stuff around. Because I'll tell you, one of my side hobbies is genealogy. And if I told you that I can trace my mother's family back on one side to about 900 AD. So it's a good solid 1,000 years. But the reason being, the men were there for their children. And even one of my grandfathers born in the 1300s, who didn't have the same mother as his brothers, the father didn't disown him. I found one bastard in 1,100 years on my mother's father's side, just one, meaning that the men, and even so, he took care of that boy. If I have to do genealogy for other people, I'm working with someone right now where these families are so messed up. You can't, when I go through and I look, there are people who don't know their parents. They don't know their grandparents. They may know 4 people in their family. That's the level of barbarism that black people are living in, because you've got brothers and sisters that don't know, sleeping with each other. If you've ever been in certain places in the South, like in the Mississippi Delta, and I have, a lot of black folks have mental issues because they're inbred. They don't even know they're in the projects. You screw on your half sister. They have a different last name, a different mama, same dad. A lot of these black men and women who are reckless and how they have sex with people have created inbred, mentally deficient black children. They're the kind that are slow in school, that commit crimes, that you can't figure stuff out. We're cursed by this. There needs, the same way that people are careful on how they breed horses, we should be thinking about who it is that you put your semen in. I mean, and so the recklessness of it all, that's anarchy. That's why we have a lot of problems. 2 days ago, I was talking to a cousin of mine about a cousin of mine who I met through Ancestry, where 2 girls were left in foster care because someone didn't want to man up. Now they're 2 dysfunctional women in their 40s because somebody just busted a nut and left. And now if they have children, those children will be messed up. And then she's on doing DNA. I meet people, they can't find any of their family. They've been cut off. It is a crime, and this is something that Black women do, and Black men do it too. They lie about paternity. They keep secrets, and people don't know anything. Do you get where I'm coming from? And I've got family in North Carolina. There are a lot of holes in my family. Holes. North Carolina holes. My grandfather had 2 wives at the same time. I had a great uncle down in Elm City, North Carolina, with the black and white wife at the same time. At the same house, pregnant at the same time. That seemed to be a tradition in my family of having 2 women pregnant about the same time. I guess they talk about it at the pool hall. But so this man had 2 a black wife and a white wife. And the Klan came after him and he shot him up. And he went over to Richmond, Virginia. So I may be running into people who are my cousins. You know, what if I hook up with somebody? When I was at the University of Virginia, there was only 1 girl I liked at the school. Just 1, named Karen. Went to family reunion. Who was at that? Karen.
Wow.
You get where people don't realize sometimes the people that you're attracted to are your own blood. They're not the people that you're supposed to hook up with. But when people just screw and it's different names, this is anarchy. This is barbarism. This is paganism. It's degenerate. We absolutely need to think about what it is that we're doing. I'm not saying don't have sex. I'm saying be smart with sex. But you know what? We're the same people that could build pyramids, but we get real stupid with our clothes off. If that's our downfall, that's what I said in my sermon. Loose dicks sink ships.
Let me show you something, Doc, real quick, because you said something about Kevin Samuels, but I'm going to talk about that, but I also want to talk about Donald Trump. Let me play this, because I want to make sure we talk about Trump. But then, Doc, I want to talk about pork chop politics. That's a term that you coined, and I want you to explain to the audience.
I said pork chop feminist.
Okay, well, pork chop feminist. We'll explain that, but maybe you can flip it even to pork chop politics. Hold tight, Doc. Are you dealing with issues like this?
I'm going to challenge all Black people for this 2024 election to stop going to your polling place and just voting Democrat without even knowing what's going on, just because you've been told to always vote for the Democratic Party. What has the Democratic Party done for us as Black people in the past, 50 years? Even the first Black president, he didn't do for the advancement of Black people in this country whatsoever. Barack Obama did more for the LGBTQ community, more for the gay community, signing laws protecting them and their advancement and their rights than he did for Black people the entire 8 years he was in office. So why are we still sitting up here voting Democrat when they don't do it for us? When we have old white men telling us, you ain't Black if you don't vote for me, but then he goes to the office and does absolutely nothing for Black Americans, but we sit up here and we vote Democrat every single time because we've been told to. As it helps you, as it helps you.
Trey Tracks, I think we got one.
It's voting season, bruh.
No voting, no loving. No voting, no touching. No voting, no nothing. No voting, no fucking, no voting, no fucking. No voting, no loving. No voting, no touching. No voting, no nothing. No voting, no fucking, no voting, no fucking. BLK app looking for some action. Why the homie Scott was hit. Face is a 9, abs is a 10, D is a to be determined.
There's a first for everything, and now I've been name dropped in the chart-topping rap song.
Wow. Shout out Patriot J, Betty Johnson, Big Bongino, Alex Jones. Free my dogs and lock up the radical left's gone crazy. I don't bail, I won't see inside a cell. Shout out Thugger, free my slime, slat, YSL. They tryna lock me up, but I'm plugged in ATL. Got homies doing life in jail, they living in hell. These DAs acting silly, my mugshot is worth a billy. So submersion made a milli, shot McMillie out in Philly. Shot the baby, shot the Sosa, Benny Butcher, them my rollers. Call me racist, but these rappers riding with me, them my soldiers. Mega, I am not who they are after. I'm just in the way they want to get to you, but I won't let them cold-hearted. No, I'm artist, getting back to where I started. I don't need to do the race, I'ma beat them Rico.
For Mayor Trump, and you ain't black.
I'm black.
I'm black.
I'm black.
Yes, I'm black. I'm black.
I'm black.
I'm black.
I'm black.
I am black.
Hmm.
I'm black.
I'm black.
I'm black.
Hmm.
If you couldn't tell, we're black.
I'm black.
I'm black. I'm black.
In black.
I'm black.
Joe Biden, man, I'm voting for Trump.
Joe Biden, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Joe Biden, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Voting for Trump, the whole hood's for Trump. Joe Biden, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Blacks for Trump, Latinos for Trump. United we stand, and we standing with Trump.
Dear white people, will you take our vote? Why the Democrats always try to steal our hope?
I'd rather have a president with a mugshot than the president pedophile that we got. I'm sorry, Trump, I ain't vote for you last time. They was hating on you spreading lies last time. Made me relate.
Last couple of weeks, what that actually.
All right, Doc. You know, a lot of black men are voting for Trump. Blacks are voting for Trump. But hold tight. Shout out to my man, Colin Marshall for the 2. He said when I saw this video, I nearly puked. And shout out once again to all the brothers that come in. But Doc, this goes back to what you were talking about when you talk about degeneracy, and sadly, a large percentage of women that look like us, and some brothers will argue they're not our women, they continue to vote for these policies and these miscreants that go against the greater fabric of our ancestors. When you saw that clip, Doc, and all the machinations associated, what was permeating through your conscience, man?
Well, what is interesting to me is that the women's movement and the sodomite movement are allies. If you understand the purpose of the feminist movement is to destroy the patriarchy, Black women have become the spear tip of destroying the family. And in order to destroy the family, you have to destroy the men who are the safeguards of the family. And so they're allied with that same woman. If her man in that video were to have slept with the drag queen that was singing, she would feel betrayed. But her in alliance with him to attack Black men standing up for the community is seen as okay. And all it underscores for me is that women and men have a different morality structure, which is why men should be in charge.
Right.
I'll give you an example. You can look around the country. Everywhere that you had a Black political machine led by Black men, Black people benefited when you had Black male leaders. Marion Barry, Coleman Young. You had the guy in Chicago, Harold Washington. When you got those guys, you had Gibson, you had Sharp James. They weren't perfect, but Black folks got tangibles when you had Black male politician, mayoral candidates who got into office. They looked out for Black people. Now that we have Black women as mayors and other positions, show me something tangible that these women deliver to the Black community. These women like Fannie Willis's money that she spent on that man's penis was supposed to have been invested in the community. The women take care of themselves. Women tend to be myopic.
Yes.
They tend to deal with their friends. They tend to look smaller. That's great when you're sewing on a baseball or doing needlepoint. There's a lot of stuff that women are great. Micromanaging stuff, it's wonderful. Men can't compete with them in that, and we shouldn't.
Right.
But there's certain things like women don't build bridges, women don't dig coal mines, women don't build roads, women don't build skyscrapers. There are things that men do that are the superstructure of society, and women might, you'll get a freak here or there, but most women aren't there. And it's the same thing with the political structure. Let me tell you something. Who were the people that began to put laws in place for the empowerment of women in the United States? If you're not aware, it's black men, many of them ex-slaves that got into the Reconstruction governments in the South. Black men were the ones that put all women on the agenda. It wasn't white men. When black women get into power and politics, you know what they look out for? They look out for women. It's interesting. Black men looked out for black women and black men, black children, and then other people. And black women thought about themselves.
Right.
And I'm sorry. I have worked on many a campaign for women candidates. Okay, mostly female. And I no longer need to do this anymore. I don't have to apologize to anyone. Now when I see a woman that's in politics, I don't trust, the same way women don't vote for women. Women that know women well never vote for women candidates. They don't. Women will not vote for women. Most white women voted for Trump in both elections. It is black women that vote against their own people. There's no other group of women that do that. There's no other group of women that would tolerate the Democratic Party constantly praising them as a demographic and ignoring their brothers. Latino women don't do that. And let's just do this, because I don't care what a lot of black women say. A lot of black women are going to die old and alone and unwanted, and thank God for it. Latino women get trafficked, raped. They have little rape trees down in Texas where they get gang raped. And you'll never hear Latino women trash Latino men collectively. And they get treated horribly. There are black women who haven't had a man tap them, who are on every show, book, making money, denigrating black men, because a lot of black women are white supremacists. And you know what? Black men, it's black men's fault. We act as if everybody that has a vagina that's black is a freedom fighter. To me, your pussy may be good, but not your character. And we need to have both.
No, I agree with you, Doc. I agree with you 100%. I want to show you something else. But you and I believe that that Trump is an antithesis to liberal politics. But however, Doc, if I play the devil's advocate, some would say that Trump is just the other side of the same coin. I want you to talk about that. But let's look at what we're gonna look at what Demond Wilson said in a minute. But what do you say to the critics, Doc, that say that? Because, you know, I'm a policy advocate. I don't care for either party. I'm a policy advocate first. But what would you say to the critics that say that Trump is the opposite side of the same coin? What would you say about that?
It makes no difference. The communists are another side of the coin. The socialists, the libertarians. Politics is dirty. The world is dirty. If you want perfection, become a Christian and live right. You'll make it to heaven. In earth, it's going to be a fight. These people talk like that. They don't want to fight for nothing. Everything's just supposed to be wonderful and nice. Isn't it interesting, those same black people who talk this mess, but if you go to their church convention, they fight all the time and they have factions?
Right, that's true.
So wait a minute. I'm serious. The black folks get amongst black people, and all the organizations are full of fighting all the time, and they accept it. They get around white people, and white people are supposed to be perfect. Wait a minute. One hand, you're calling white folk the devil. Then the next minute, you're asking them to be perfect. The problem with black folks is that they have a love-hate relationship with white people. You should love God, love yourself, love humanity, and hate nobody. And part of loving yourself is protecting yourself, respecting yourself, not being a sucker, not being messed over. So the black people's love hate. You know what they hate white people for? For not accepting and including them. If you loved yourself, it wouldn't matter how they felt about us.
That's a fair point.
I mean, and I'm not saying, and by the way, you love yourself enough to have a gun, have a house full of ammunition to back it up. You act on how you feel about me. See how long that lasts. We keep running at. I don't need anybody's acceptance. You know, I didn't drink milk as a baby because I was lactose intolerant. But had I drank milk, I would have probably been sucking on a white woman's breast who helped raise me. I've been up around white folks. I'm not mad at white people, but I'm very clear. You know, you black people act like the oxygen in their lungs is handled by white people.
Right.
It's because we worship white people as gods instead of seeing them as people in this Hunger Games struggle. They're people with their interests. Maybe they don't like you. Maybe they do. It's interesting. We don't walk around thinking about how black people hate one another. So why are you so worried about whether white people love you or not? It's because we worship white people. It's idolatry. And that's why we're stuck. The minute that we become more, have more dignity. I mean, what's wrong with dignity, Tim Scott? What's wrong with it? We seem to think out of that old slave thing that if we have integrity, we won't get the nicer things. If we have dignity, we won't get the nicer things. That's even how we deal with our women. Black men are weak. We don't think we should have what we deserve. So we try to ease up to it, scrape up to it, crawl up to it, and nobody likes a beggar. And for black women, nobody likes a traitor. I'm a Christian, and we're supposed to love everybody. Ask a Christian, do they love Judas, who sold out Jesus? No, we hate Judas. We're glad that he killed himself. He should have did it. And 30 pieces of silver, you didn't get enough, punk. You know, nobody likes a traitor. Nobody likes a beggar. Nobody respects weakness. Black women will go after a man that would beat them down before they would a man that would bring them roses that they thought couldn't protect them if someone came and put their hands on them. Everybody wants strength and power. Women get up in the Nation of Islam because they like the fruit of Islam. Even if it isn't what, maybe it's not what it presents itself, but it looks like strong black men that don't take any mess. It's appealing. We have been taught that strength is a curse in relationship to white people. That comes from slavery days where you couldn't look a person in the eye.
That's true.
But now we can. You know, my grandfather, born in Wilson, North Carolina, shot the sheriff's son down in Rocky Mount back in the 30s. It all came out of a fight over being told to get off the sidewalk down in Rocky Mount, get in the mud. I'm white and I said so. And my grandfather had on a white linen suit that he got in Norfolk and couldn't kiss booty. A lot of us have family all over the country because even back when you couldn't look a white person in the eye, certain folks weren't going to go for the BS. They weren't going to be treated less than. In reality, we don't believe in God, so we don't have faith we can make it if we ever get off our knees. We've been taught by the boomers and the silent generation and a lot of the Xers to crawl. If we crawl, they'll like us. If we let them beat us and the sticks and water hoses, we'll get stuff. Nobody gets anything like that. That's a lie. What moved the civil rights movement was when niggas started burning cities. That's when all the laws got passed. Everybody respects force and implied violence if it's not put into action. A march going through someone's neighborhood is an act of intimidation. It's passive intimidation. If you dock someone's house and you show up outside, that is a threat to that person, even if you didn't put your hands. It's the potential someone could put hands on you. We have all of this where we murder and kill and stab and cheat. We do that to self, and yet we won't employ the same things we do to each other for nothing in return. We won't even get out there and scrump and fight for our community. Proof of that is what I call the Congressional Black Circus. We've got close to 60 black people in Congress, and we don't have a damn thing to show for it. They don't fight for nothing. We got those 2 girls blown up in Syria, and there are probably dozens more blacks injured from those bombs that the Iraqi radicals fired. Notice that we don't see pictures of all these people that have been injured since October. I bet they're all black. Why hasn't anybody asked? And your congressman, the ex one, Butterfield, the one who looked like the Frito Bandito with no sombrero? Yeah, I said it. He does look like the Frito Bandito. None of these people, nobody black is asking. Do you realize 50 years ago, the Congressional Black Caucus would have checked out to see if any more of our children had been hurt? Nobody's saying take our children out of this free fire zone in Syria. We have no business with soldiers in Syria. The Iraqis want us out. Why are they sending National Guards people instead of United States military people? And they had that effeminate Lloyd Austin, the one that looks like Esther Roll from Good Times. He's incompetent. They put a black guy out there so they can use him as a cover to send black kids to get slaughtered overseas. And we're so happy. Ooh, a black person, Secretary of Defense. He ain't defending us. He didn't defend those 2 girls and that man that are dead.
Right, token Negroes. Shout out to my man, Top Gun for the 5. He said, "Who hurt you, Silky Black?" Salute to everyone in the chat. You may proceed. Shout out to that good brother. You know, Doc, you talking about pork chop feminism. Let's talk about it. Pork chop feminism and DC politics or politics. What's wrong with both of those 2 questions, Doc?
Well, pork chop feminism is my way of describing how black women have taken white radical lesbian feminism and applied it to the black community. And black men have been made the oppressors of humankind. Black men have to be punished, as if black men had all the money and the power and had dispossessed women. And it is both ideological, because they live their life as if black men are the enemy, black children are the enemy, and anything that attacks black men's sources of power or esteem gets attacked as being anti-female. And yet those same women bitch and complain about the absence of things that men did do when we had the patriarchy intact.
Right.
So pork chop feminism, this is a schizophrenic, amnesiac, self-hating, sexually confused black woman that thinks she's woke. She can't tell a dildo from a dick, but don't you try to tell her. Oh, she said, it's long. And so you have these women, I mean, and these women are intersectional. They can unite with every other group of people. In fact, black women that marry white men don't get divorced. They know how to submit and cooperate and endure, and they don't always have money. I've seen black women with broke white men. Okay, black women are liars about this. Liars. They get with white men and cooperate. So they support everybody, but they don't support black men. And they look for reasons to be against black men. And yet, if they come into trouble, they feel entitled to black men's protection, support, and unwavering loyalty while giving nothing in return.
Right.
That's pork chop feminism, and I hate it. If you're like that and you're listening, I don't like you. Please don't contact me. I want to live in a world segregated from pork chop feminists. In fact, I want all of them to have white men for husbands. Be happy. Go away. Create confused children. At least you'll know how to comb their hair. White women don't know how to do black kids' hair when they have children. I mean, kids' hair. You can tell the kids biracial when their hair's all jacked up.
You know, what you're saying is powerful, man. And you coalesce a lot of the talking points that I've talked about. There's a lot of mental illness and thinking errors in the broader Black community. You know, Damon Wilson parroted, Doc, what you were talking about, and he said that he believed that Kevin Samuels was deleted. I believe it too. I've always said I believe he was deleted because the powers that be don't want to see a traditional heteronormative Black family. They want to keep these women in power. They want to continue to embolden them to decimate their own people at the expense of the greater Black collective.
Mm-hmm.
Doc, you're an educated man. We're both an educated man, and you know what I'm talking about when I say this. The part is not greater than the whole, Dr. Short.
Right.
The part is not greater than the whole.
Mm-hmm.
But sadly, Dr. Short, many Black women think that they're greater than the whole.
Mm-hmm.
Many Black women are pro-Black woman first. They're not pro-Black community, pro-God, or pro-family. It's Black woman first.
But they're not really.
Everybody else disseminate from them. Go ahead.
They're not really pro-Black women. Because if I have the woman's name right, her name is Woodner or whatever. There was a white congresswoman that was fighting to do something about human trafficking, which disproportionately impacts Black women. Not one Black woman in Congress got behind defending our women from sexual slavery. Black women that get elected don't do anything for women. They're not. Okay. Those women typically come out to attack Black men. When you see a Black woman in HR jobs, normally they're there to keep Black men out of jobs. They give them jobs to everybody but Black men. Prove how professional they are.
I've experienced it.
I have too. No, don't tell me. Black women are not for Black women. They're for themselves. Right. That's why they put them there. The real Black women, and I want to shout out to the Wazis. That means for me, warrior sisters. The Ida B. Wells sisters, the Wazis. Wazi babies, love you, Wazis. All my Wazis out there, Sister Scales is a Wazi. Wazis, those are our sisters. Pork chop feminist studs are enemies. They're Benedict Arnold with the vagina. But you know what? Those same women that say the part's greater than the whole are backed up by the men I call fagonists. Black men refuse to check Black women because they want sexual favors from them.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
right.
So it's this Black men are at fault. We're not leading. We haven't told someone your vagina doesn't make you better than me. It makes you compatible with me, not better than. That's right. and I blame Black men. When are Black men going to stop being beggars? I will have a Black family regardless of who I have intercourse with to procreate. If it's an Eskimo, as long as it's human, my family will be Black. I am not restricted by pork chop feminism. I marry who the hell I want to, who's going to submit to me and cooperate with me.
I agree 100%,
okay,
brother.
I'm not running after Miss Ann because Black men's marriages to white women fail too.
Right.
It's just, but Black women really want to be with white men. And that's a big part of the thing. And we need to force it out that Black women suffer from aesthetic racism. A lot of, when you tell them that they're a queen, but you're putting them with the man who's at the bottom of the heap, that's a contradiction. In order to be a queen, I need to be at the top. That's why you'll see far more Black women wearing wigs, blonde wigs, and you'll see Black men. Black women aspire to be at the top. Black women want to be with the power men, and that's not Black men. So Black women take Black men for granted. They're disloyal, and most, yes, you are. I don't care if you don't like it. You're disloyal, and it's Black men's fault. We haven't created a system of sanctions. For example, there is a Somali woman. She's over in Europe somewhere. I'm not disagreeing with what she said, but she came out against Somali society. Those Somali men have shut her down. She can't go in Somali areas. If a Black woman like Oprah Winfrey or Gayle King or George trash Black men, most Black men, if she has a decent sized buttocks or a face that, couldn't double as a Halloween mask, and there's a possibility that she's available for someone to sleep with, they will give her a pass. That's because Black men have low morals. low value, low character, low self-image, and therefore accept the same inferior traits in the women that they get with. If black men elevate how they see and do things, the same way snakes don't survive at high altitudes, pork chop feminists can't survive being in the presence of liberated, thinking, conscious, black patriarchal men of courage.
I agree.
They won't. So the real problem is black men have been down too long, and black men need to stop knocking each other down. You know, I traveled a little bit, and I want to travel again. Men in other communities cooperate more. Black men have a very high level of catty, feminine energy where they hate
Yes.
and tear into and are against each other all the time. And it's
Yes.
interesting. It's interesting. Every year all over the country, what is the largest annual multi-city gathering of black men around the country? What is it?
I don't know.
Black Gay Pride Month.
Mm.
Why is it that black men who eat doo-doo, who swallow semen, who like getting their behinds blown out, okay, who wear nipple rings, how come they can come together across the country and network around sodomy, and heterosexual black men can't do anything? It seems as if the man that sucks dick acts more like a man who gets pussy. Why is it that black men that are unnaturally sexually attracted, able to do things at least like men do, get laws and things, policies around queer stuff? Yes, they do. And straight black men have not come together to stake a common cause for their good women and children. And that's because most black men, even when they're straight, hate the next black man. It's interesting. If he's gay, you don't like him. If he's bi, you don't like him. If he's straight, you're jealous and envious of him too.
Right.
The greatest hatred in our community is not black women against black men. It's black men hating other black men.
I
That
totally
is the
agree.
greatest
I
hatred.
totally agree. I agree.
Black women would change tomorrow if black men would change. Black men must stop the Civil War. We must give each other amnesty and stop being bitches. Stop acting like the world's going to run out of pussy. Stop hating a man for being straight. Be glad he doesn't want it in your jaws or in your behind. Be glad. Why can't we be happy for each other? Every other group of men in the world can come together and have common cause. This is why we're in the situation that we're in. We're the bitches. The women are just being macho.
I agree with you 1,000,000%, and you are correct. A lot of it is a state of arrested development. A lot of it, dog, they were raised by the mammoths, so they think like women. In the clinical
and
world, we
act
call
like women, and have the killing ability of men. That's why we have so much violence.
But that's what we call simps. And also, Doc, they over-identify through a concept called introjection. They introject, then they identify, and they internalize, then they identify, and they project their anger towards other men. Shout out to my man Gregory Scotland for the 5. Hold tight. He said, Gregory Scotland said this. He said that women like such as Michelle Wallace, Bell Hooks, and Alice Walker, and Barbara Smith did great damage to the black community with their rights. I agree 100%. And then also shout out to the International Quiet Storm for the $20 super chat. Guys, go support Dr. Short. Go check out his channel and also support the man financially. But also, guys, go to his book club. Dr. Short is an esteemed guest. He's a highly intelligent man. Some would say he's controversial, but he's telling the truth.
Oh my God!
And we need good brothers. Like
why is
Dr.
the truth controversial? Have you heard me say kill anybody, hate anybody, hurt anybody, stab anybody, take from anybody? All I've said is love, respect, and order, right? I mean, what's the truth? When the truth became controversial, that's when black folks got into trouble. Where you can't tell. Well, people think people act. You know what? If I were out here hurting or doing stuff to people, I couldn't talk like this because my business would be all out everywhere. I've been through this. People tried to find. Yes, the only thing I can tell you about me is I don't have a whole lot of money because I tell the truth. That's about it. I mean, look for that. I don't have any criminal records. Let me tell you, I was on the terror list for a few years.
Oh wow.
Okay, because I warned the world that the Ebola was made between your North Carolina, your Ralph Barrett, who's at University of Chapel Hill. You know who I'm talking about. Those people made the Ebola and took it down to Tulane, and they made it to CDC in Georgia and up at Fort Detrick, and it was made to kill black people. I went on Iranian television and warned people, and I held up the patent. Don't tell me I'm making this up when they said they made it, and I was a terrorist. I don't think so. All I said is, "Thou shalt not kill." That's controversial to say, "Don't kill people." I mean, I mean, some of the stuff that people have attacked me for. Go back and look at. I said, "Don't kill anybody. Don't kill black people. Stop killing us." I mean, that what's bad about that? What's
I agree with you
evil?
100%. I agree with you 100%, Doc. You're correct. I agree with you 1,000,000%, actually. But anything equivocated with truth is always seen. It's if you pro black male, pro tradition. They call Kevin Samuels and many of these talking spaces terrorists. One lady, I'm not gonna call her name, said that she said that the black men and black men's spaces are public health crisis. And what you said, Doc, is very profound. I had a black woman that was on my channel. She's from South Africa. She said in South Africa and other countries, men are venerated. What you said was 1,000,000% correct. If black men would damn start raising their standards, if black men was fall in line, that's why they hate the passport bros so much, because it's a threat to their power. But if black men would stand firm in their mantle as men, stop throwing other ones under the bus, start putting these birds in check, and start being men, these women will have no damn choice but to fall in line. But the problem is, But the problem is, Doc, as a good man like yourself, I've been married for 28 years, but if I was married again, I would marry an American woman. If I ever get married again, Doc, my wife's going to be a foreign woman. She's going to probably come from Africa, the motherland, South America, or Asia. I would never marry American women again. Are there a few decent sisters left? Yeah. But at this age of 52, I ain't got time to try to find a damn rock in a hard place. I ain't got time.
Brother,
I ain't got time.
What America has done for women, even when Africans come here, their wives leave them after a certain period of time. They have a very high rate of divorce because America is very toxic. What it does to women, I wouldn't. I wouldn't feel very safe marrying an American right now. I just don't. I want to go to Africa. I enjoyed being in Brazil and other places. It was wonderful. The women here have been taught to hate and disrespect men. And to me, the same way I wouldn't want to marry a white woman to have to teach her everything about race, I don't want to have to teach a black woman about respecting me. That's insane. You should know how to respect me at this age, how to treat me. So a lot of the ladies have psychologically locked themselves out. What we really need is a sex cut, right? No deference, no dick. No deference, no dick. Okay, we need a sex cot against pork chop feminists. Don't screw anybody that wouldn't marry you and be submissive. Okay, your mission should be submission. Okay, and it's just no ifs, buts, and ands about it. And by the way, Alice Walker's birthday is Friday. If you don't like Alice Walker, you should donate to me. We have the same birthday. I mean, I think God created me to fight against Alice Walker. She was born in 1943 or 44, and I was born just like about 21 years later. I believe my birth purpose is to fight her, and I call her phallus stalker, which is more accurate. She's a very evil and degenerate woman. Michelle Wallace, that was what you mentioned. Michelle Wallace hasn't done another book. Michelle Wallace probably didn't write that book. Michelle Wallace is a fraud. We haven't heard from her since the 70s, where she caught some heat. She put out Black Woman and Super Macho. She was used. What a lot of people don't understand is the feminist movement was created by the CIA and other people. It's a population control. It is an attack against Black men and all the stupid punkified, faggonist men that think that they can coexist with feminism because they went to a white school like I did and they're cool. They're idiots. That includes stupid Cornel West who says he's a feminist, yet you can't stay married. How many white women do you have to marry and fail with? In fact, you could keep a black woman if you got a haircut and trimmed your mustache. I mean, in fact, you want to change the world, improve your grooming, Cornel West. I mean, I'm not a big grooming person, but Cornel West's grooming is always worse than mine, no matter what state I'm in. If you're a real black man out in the public, you would look better. The optics, you wouldn't look like a starfish on fentanyl. Come on.
No doubt. Shout out to my man, the International Quiet Storm. He's up for tonight's therapy session. Support black male media. I'm traveling quietly listening, but I will continue to support those who fight for me. And the Quiet Storm, that's a deal right here, and I appreciate it. As you are the number one sponsor of the stream, you is great and scholar. But okay. I want to show you something, Doc. You said something that was powerful. I think your sentiment is the same as Damon Wilson. And it all ties in, Doc. Liberal politics, they tried to target Kevin Samuels. We both believe he was eliminated.
Yes.
And this is going to make sense. Let me show it to you, Doc. Hold tight.
Wow.
I see that you said we not said, and I highly doubt that you have the authority or qualified to speak on all men, so it's probably best that you speak for yourself. And you are sad, and I want you to know that it's absolutely okay. You're allowed to be sad. You can even cry. It's okay. I won't tell nobody. What you and a lot of unevolved men who were all up his ass failed to realize is that he supported a patriarchal system that oppressed women and oppressed men.
Patriarchy is
but
good.
Y'all don't like to see the whole picture. You just like to look at the parts that make you feel more egotistical and more superior. Just like men don't like to be categorized with men, they're nothing alike. Women don't like to be categorized with women that they're nothing alike. And no two women on this earth are the same. Meanwhile, men who march to this patriarchal tune are more like carbon copies of each other than we are. Me asking who's going to run the He-Man Woman Haters Club now is mocking y'all, not him. He mocked our entire existence. So the point is, without his delusional guidance, now you have to process your own emotions and think for yourselves. Godspeed.
This man was a hypocrite, in my honest opinion. He really was. I didn't find anything about him to be human. He insulted African-American women on a consistent basis. One of his last statements that he said was that if you're over 38 and you haven't married or something like that, then you're no good and disposable. To me, it was a sharp job. And, you know, I hope this is teaching folks a lesson about the karma that you put out, the negativity that you put out in the world.
All of them. All of them. You name your biggest black actors, you name your biggest white actors, you name your biggest female Latino actresses, they all have to do it. A blood oath. Now you bend over. Now every orifice that you have is going to be annihilated. Now you got all these guys that they take your humanity from you. You know how the feminist movement has categorized men. I think that what was his name? Samuels had the podcast. There was the women hated. Kevin Samuels.
Kevin Samuels, yes.
Kevin Samuels was eliminated because they didn't want to go back to that. They want these women ignorant.
That's right.
They want kids running around the street. If they don't pay the income tax, they put them in the penitentiary and they get their money out of them that way.
We got women out here can't find a man because they acting like him. You are alpha. Now the alphas all want these subservient husbands. You can't have one.
Are you not afraid about being blackballed again? These are some power people.
These people are not powerful. Satan can't create anything. That includes blessings for his people. You know what the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job. But I'm not scared of being the competition. Yeah, on paper, they're a better team. They have all the assets and resources that we don't. But let us get on the line, boy, and see if that factors in. I guarantee you it won't. All of these shortcut takers, they canceled me for talking about Harvey Weinstein before the thing came out, but he offered to suck my in front of all my people at my agency. I told him no. What y'all do? And this is why when I walk in a room, heads go down. Behind my back, I'm nothing. I'm just a regular old comedian. But in my face, no. The king has walked in and they have to respect it only because I'm not taking the shortcuts. They pay you to not talk about things they don't want you to talk about.
What do you think about that, Doc? What Damon Wilson said about Kevin Samuels, brother?
Yeah,
and then I'm going to play the other part. Go ahead.
You know what was so interesting is that Kevin Samuels died around the time I was in the hospital recovering from a heart attack and having bypass surgery. So it was shocking to me that Kevin died. So it just didn't sit right. I believe he's killed. People need to understand that the CIA has a division that studies Black life, and they've been working to reduce the Black population in this country since the Constitutional Convention of 1787 to make certain that there were not too many Black people in this country. This is oh well, no, you don't have to believe it. It's a fact. That's why you had the African importation ban after 1808. They were worried about having a showdown between us and them. The American Colonization Society, established 1816, 1817, is to send all free Black people to Africa because they feared Black folks, if they were free or then the free Black population grew, we would exponentially outnumber them and we would overtake them. The number one enemy to white America is Black people. Not that we want to fight them. They want to control, if not eliminate us. They've been consistently at this for hundreds of years. It's time for us to declare war on hatred against us and traitors within us. And Black men need to stop being bitches and become an army of self-defense, of development, of advancement. And any woman that can't get on board with that, drum her ass out. Now, you talked about traveling. You know, I want to go on a bush bitch safari. I didn't have enough money because I was going to go to Africa. And I love South Africa and other places because men have value. The passport brother thing is actually, you know, I helped start this movement in the 90s at Howard University by taking the feminists and other people on the student newspaper. I did an article called Finding Love by Any Means Necessary. And I talked about liking women from Brazil who were nice. And there was this Black female med student named Sue Lee that I liked, who was gorgeous, blacker than a skillet, fine as all get out, right? And everybody said, I want a white woman. Actually, the darker they are, the more I like them. Just, you know, that's just me. We Black men have to begin to act like we're free. If we act and behave like we're free, it's just like you act like you got money, people will believe you got money. As long as Black men act powerless, as long as Black men act like, oh, the world's going to run out of pussy and the ugliest, fattest, greasiest, nastiest, most degenerate Black woman as the only person that can rescue you, then you put their price up. Black men are the ones that have caused pussy inflation in America, not Black women. The Passport Brother movement, Kevin Samuels, and we who are in the feminism abolition movement, we in the Black Patriarch Resistance Army, and brother, you've got to meet Chef C. We're going to be having a Patriarch Summit where we're going to begin to organize men who want to have a patriarch revolution in Black America. And we don't care what simps, fagonists, coon preachers, none of that. We don't care. I don't give a damn about white liberalism. It doesn't mean anything to me. You don't pay my student loans. You don't pay my bills. I don't give a damn about you. There's nothing tangible that the people who criticize us think, so we don't have to care what they think. I don't give a damn. I don't live for them. You know, there was a white guy named Doug who had a nice show in Delaware, and he had me on because I'm one of the people that helped start the movement to fight against the depot shot, which sterilizes and destroys black women and then the women that take it. But it's targeted towards black women, and it contributes to AIDS and all this other kind of stuff. And this little white broad called up. I was doing an interview like I'm doing with you, and I basically answered people's questions the way I'm answering yours. And the white lady got upset, and I says, "Ma'am, you seem to have a problem. I bet you think you're a Christian, but if you were a real Christian, you would believe honestly that it's my job to please God, not white people. You guys can't be God because they sell toilet paper in the stores out where you live. In fact, in bigger bundles in the neighborhood I live in. So the fact that I please God is enough for me. I couldn't care a damn about how you feel." And I went on to tell the host, I don't want to take any more questions. I've been listening to white racist monologues my whole life. They can listen to my monologue for a few minutes. You know, they took his show away because it set the white people off. That I didn't want to answer their questions. Who gives a damn about their questions? They know all about us. They've got all the repositories and archives with the papers. They know what they've done. They know what they're about. I'm telling you, as a genealogist of people that don't talk to me, I've been experiencing this for a while. Why? Because my whole family, and it's not just me, there are black people all over this country that come from royalty in Europe. The Moors that ruled Europe came here. A bunch of us are not just kings and queens from Africa, we're kings and queens from Europe. They stopped talking to you. Why? Because they're not sharing the land and all that I should get because I'm in the family. That's a whole bunch of us. Why do you think Colin Powell got to be so high? Do you know Colin Powell comes from British royalty?
I didn't know that.
Okay, so you know Colin Powell and I are in the same family. Obama, all of us are related to King Henry II of England. There are a whole bunch of us here. So we're not just kings and queens from, we're kings and queens from everywhere. We shouldn't be walking with our heads down. I did not know that Henry VIII was my uncle. I mean, it don't make me feel any different. I'm still a black person, but hell. And like a lot of people, you might be too. King Charlemagne is one of my uncles, and his grandfather's my grandfather, Charles Martel. Okay, we need to sit back, black men, and wait a minute and recognize we come from greatness all over the world. And the little bit of period of time in which we were subjugated to chattel slavery, that's just a speck. As I look at it, that's just a hiccup in the, let me see, what it says. Wow. And the 1,400 years of history I've been able to find out about some of my family, it's only been about 150 years or 100 years where it was really bad. And we obsess on that 100 years. We need to, I'm not saying that you ignore the 100 years. You know, we don't want 1 year, but we shouldn't obsess on just all the bad, but take stock. It didn't stay. Look at the people that Vivek Ramaswamy, who I call vasectomy, or Slamala, that hoe I went to Howard University with, she was a hoe then. And the whole AKA line used to do tricks down on 14th Street where the prostitutes were. Yes, I said it, Kamala. Slut. Okay, I'm just saying. And it's alleged that Kamala used to do stuff for Willie Brown on the city council people in City Hall in San Francisco.
So you went to Howard, Doc, with Kamala? Y'all went to Howard together?
Yeah, she's a class before me. We were there. And so Kamala, you know, fake Kamala was in the Caribbean Student Association, and they would call Black Americans Yankee niggas, and stupid people voted for her. Kamala Harris is a beast. The Caribbean students didn't necessarily like Black American students at Howard, and I grew up on Howard's campus. Howard University's campus is bisected by a street called Bryant Street. I lived on Bryant Street. I could walk. Howard University is 2 blocks from my house. My dad was chaplain, Pentecostal chaplain for 42 years at Howard University. I know all about Howard and about the people from Africa and other places. Some do and a lot don't like us. We need to sober up, start liking ourselves.
Yes, sir.
And particular Black men have to We need to have a bitch anonymous group for black men to learn how to not be bitches towards each other, to learn how to help, to share, to invest. Black man set up a store. It's robbed out of business first week. Asians come in, sell bad food, demand sex for credit, and that store's there 100 years. $10 gallon milk. Black person sell it for $4 and they'll complain, and that's a competitive price because it's a black man store. Within a week, the black man has a bullet hole in his head. Man, why you got all this plexiglass up? You don't have the plexiglass, they kill him. And the Asians have everything behind the glass, and they keep coming. They pay extortionate prices because we black men, the biggest problem in this country for us is as long as black men are chicks with dicks, we're dead as a people. And a lot of black men think, oh, you go to the gym, you got beer cans. Physicality isn't what makes you a man. It may allow you to express your manhood. What makes you a man is your integrity, your character, your soul, your connection to God, you having principles and things that you stick to. That's what makes you a man, because when you're old and can't do all that physical stuff, do you cease to be a man? No, you become a wise man where you do less with your body, but you're doing even more with your mind and your soul. If you're a mature old man and not an old fool who still want to mess with kids and so forth, because we got a lot of deviant, retarded, nasty old black men. They even had them at Howard. Men in their 80s and almost 90s having sex with students. Oh, yes, I'm talking. If you,
I agree with that.
at these HBCUs are full of old geezers, sometimes sleep with the young men. A lot of black men, and there are a lot of black women in their 70s run around in booty shorts. I mean, your behind is firm, but your chin ain't. You need to be at home and tell these kids who their family is instead of trying to show you can twerk.
Right. Oh, let me show you this, Doc. Hold on.
When karma comes knocking at your door, she might not be so kind. So, the fact that he killed over real quick and was fully
this is another topic I want to touch on.
Never yet know the nationality.
Jerry Springer just talked.
Rest in peace.
Fuck that messy ass nigga.
This is another topic.
Jerry Springer did that. Hold on. Fuck that messy ass nigga. That ain't gonna say it. Fuck that messy ass nigga. But I'm gonna say my issue. Hold on. Jerry Springer got my issue. That ain't gonna say it. I'm gonna let y'all say it, but I'm gonna say my issue.
Jerry Springer just died. My issue is with Jerry Springer. He's low class. My issue ain't with good. My issue is with. My issue is with low class. My issue is with these low class, low IQ ass bitches that I saw. My issue is with low class. Rest in peace, Jerry. Oh my God, I grew up on low IQ ass bitches that I saw. Oh my God.
Who the baby daddy?
Listen, all these same women. The same women. All these same bitches praising God, right? Oh, he resting in hell.
Who the baby daddy?
Listen, all these same women, right? All these same bitches, right? Praising God, you turn around and he resting in hell. I'm rolling up Kevin in the it's a new iPad, right? All these same bitches, right? But then you turn around and praise. I'm not blaming him. Not from your culture.
He's making money.
He's making money, right? You got on there and made yourself riches off making you look like he was making money. I'm not blaming him.
He's making money.
He was making money, right? You got on there and made yourself look like a fool. But the fact that he was making money, rebuild.
You need to end this because there are too many people talking.
All you dirty ass who was trying to uplift you and help rebuild the
I'm gonna let y'all
say get your shit off, but every last one of you
this is what we tune in for the viral show right here.
No, I'm gonna let y'all get your shit off, but every last one of you
this is what we tune in for the viral show right here.
No fact. I hope y'all go join that nigga. I'm gonna put you in the latest iPad when you go.
So I found myself being a little bit of a hypocrite over the last few days since the death of Kevin Samuels, who I definitely was a supporter of. Honestly, when I first saw the Average at Best video, the 30-second clip, I thought, who he think he is talking to her like that? And so I went and I watched the entire thing because I like to have an opinion, of my own and not just what everyone else is echoing, because I have a brain, So I went and I watched the entire episode and I was like, okay, he's got a good point there. Now his delivery it is what it is. You know, that's his personality. You're either going to watch him and accept and be able to digest what he's saying, or you're going to have an issue with his delivery and totally miss the message. I don't really find that there's a lot of in between people when it comes to Kevin Samuels. You either love the man or you hate him, isn't it? All right, so I happen to love him. I love this message. I took a lot of value from what his message was, which was kind of really simple. And Black women, y'all still missing the point. I mean, all he's saying is don't shit on Black men because you make more than them. I think statistically, probably Black women are more likely to be higher earning now because of all of our degrees and whatnot. But yeah, the man doesn't just bring money to the table, does he? Like, him being a provider, does it only mean he can pay your bills? I think not. What about protection and being a father? Just his presence. Like, there's so much more to the Black man outside of him being able to buy you stuff. Like, that's so freaking superficial, right? Anyway, so yeah, I sat and I watched hours of his content. I used to tune into some of his lives, and when you really sit down and listen to what the man is saying, if you have a brain, you'll see the value and the pure wisdom that he spoke, right? But no, black women are dragging this, and they're laughing and they're happy that he's gone. But you know what? This is where I said I felt like I was a hypocrite, because the other day there was a Black guy that passed. He was, I believe, murdered. I don't know what the case is, but he was one that would publicly bash Black women, like say a lot of nasty things about us. And he was dating a white woman, and the white woman apparently killed him, stabbed him, or whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about. When that sucker died, like, I remember being one online that I would chime in, and I jumped into the memes, and I was like, okay, next, so what y'all having for dinner? Like, I gave no Fs, right? I didn't care, because this man clearly hated me. He hated his mama. So why should I care that he's gone, you know? And I think it's funny to see how now that same thing is being done to Kevin, because people think Kevin Samuels hated Black women, but they don't actually sit on and listen to the message and say that he didn't hate Black women. He was actually for Black women. He wanted to see Black women do better. He wanted to help us change our mindset so that we could, accept the Black man, right? I was faced with my own hypocrisy the other day when that happened. So, you know what? When the world loses a Black man, it's just a sad thing, because, that Black man was a father, he was a friend, most likely. He's in prison for mistaken identity. Let that sink in.
Doug, when you saw all the vitriol and the murder of Kevin, I don't want to say that word, but deletion of Kevin, and so many women celebrated. Can you hear me?
No, I was making the Kevin Samuels cross for We Patriarchs.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's just when you say his name, he was so holy to the patriarchal movement. You come down like this, you go up, and you're forming a K. So you form a Samuel's cross out of respect for that great human being. In fact, so it says Kevin Samuels is a patron saint of the Black Patriarch movement, and we hope that we are able as disciples to let people know that Kevin Samuels lives. He lives, and he lives. Kevin Samuels is going to live. We're never going to let them destroy the Godfather. When they danced on his grave, they unleashed a revolutionary movement against feminism. It was like when Jesus was crucified and he rose again. Satan thought he had him by killing a righteous man, setting him up and framing him and getting rid of him. And instead, it made it more powerful. It made more people. I mean, it's stronger now than when he was alive. They completely failed. And in fact, it took a little bit for the people to gather after the crucifixion of Christ to organize what they're going to do. But now, as you see, the Passport Brothers is one thing, but the patriarchal movement will be sort of almost like analogous to what Christianity was to Christ. So we are in the Kevinian, and I consider myself the apostle of the First Kevin Samuel's Church of Deliverance. Let me rattle my tambourine.
You know, you talked about the passport bro movement, and it's galvanized a lot of men. You know, one of the things a lot of these modern women don't want, Doc, is that they don't want men to be awakened. They want them to take bad deals, bad women, bad attitudes,
old
obesity.
pussy.
Yeah, right. All for the sake of used box. What's your take on the passport bro movement, Doc, and how it's empowered black men to get better outcomes?
Well, I'm gonna give the downside first, and then I'll give the up. There is a problem if the men go abroad with the simp, fagonist, dick whore mindset of running, trying to screw everybody. Then those men are going to get killed, and they're going to ruin the brand of Black American men.
Yes,
so
sir. Right.
The passport brothers that are going abroad to find wives, genuine committed relationships, I'm thankful for their outcome. For Black men, the same ones that have screwed and raped and been molesters, where the Black women are bitter, they'll take that same degenerate, nasty behavior overseas and make us look bad. And so I wish the best for any righteous Black man that is able to go abroad and meet someone and form a family. May God bless him. For the Black men that are degenerate, sleazers, scummers, a baller, testicle, a pimp type, if they get killed overseas, good. We don't need them here. Black men have got to clean their act up. There's a type of Black man that's a predator, a liar, a user, a grifter, a pimp. He's nasty. He's out hurting and busting up the good sisters that are out here. If he's going to peep game overseas and he gets caught up in Colombia, or he gets some bad alcohol in the Dominican Republic, as Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead. I don't care if they never come back, because they're useless to us here. And men overseas that protect their women will check these guys if they're not going. If they're going like as one individual and you think you're going to just be like Jim Brown with your chest all out and whatever, or Richard Roundtree, you'll get checked if you want to slap around or beat up or mistreat women. I'm not saying that that's characteristic of passport brothers as a group.
I understand, right.
But for any trash, chicken shit nigger that can go overseas, that wants to mess over women like they mess over people here, because I've seen Black men get with white women and beat and abuse the women and the kids, and I'm thinking, wow. Right. Those kinds of men, we do have some misogynists, no good Black men. I hope they get checked by the women and the people overseas. I hope they don't get back, because eventually those kind are going. One day soon, maybe under the Trump administration, there's going to be a travel advisory from the State Department about Black men traveling abroad. Because you see, I know a lot of folks, they don't know how to act. I can recall, in this hearing, Black men in Brazil would be in the bars fighting. The Brazilian women are so friendly, you can meet women there. These men are so into this pussy shortage thing and this brother effer mindset, where I'm against they see, in fact, a lot of Black men are very, very faggoty. They see a man with a nice looking woman and they're mean mugging him, jealous. What are you mad about?
Right.
What, do you want him? I mean, let him be. I'm happy if I see a man and woman together enjoying each other, even if I'm by myself.
Yes, sir. Same here.
Those envious, jealous, backstabbing Black dudes, they were down in Brazil getting into fights with people. People couldn't figure out, what are they fighting over pussy for? So a lot of Black men, they're like women. There's never enough for two. These kinds of men are going to be eliminated by this new process. So it's a good day. There's going to be a reduction in sorry Black men, because if they go over to another environment, they're going to get cut down. And the good Black guy, there was a guy, I think his name is Lanre, had a really good student, nice brother, well dressed, everything. And I could see none of the girls would even like spit on him. I ran into him at a Palestinian owned restaurant and I saw him with this good looking sister. And I said, she's a foreigner, isn't she? And he said, yeah. I says, I knew. And I says, it's not that you're not a good looking, smart brother. The black girls didn't respect him, but he had a fine, good looking, and I've seen this with several type black men just as good as anyone. So black women have had basically what they call a union's closed shop, or they've had a vaginal embargo where black men were stuck with the worst that black women were willing to give us. In fact, black women have done to black men what white men have done to black men, where basically you had to take whatever they did. This passport brother thing has shattered this mindset that I've got to go with this fat, greasy thing with all these other kids. It's over. So basically, we're seeing the death of pork chop feminism. Yes. Feminism will be destroyed in the black community in our lifetime. And in fact, the real destruction, as you see, Fannie Willis will be brought before Congress and she'll be made out to be a whole. It is my prayer to God that within a year or so, in particular, if we have a Trump presidency, that they start doing RICO cases against our secret society people, because a lot of this corruption is run through the Black Greek letter organizations, that they get a black college and they only hire fellow Greeks and they destroy it and they steal. That a day come where they begin to round them up and prosecute them as a group. May God answer my prayer that Fannie Willis and all the other Deltas, I know she's a Delta because she's fat, all the Deltas that are with her, that they all get arrested. And that this begin and that they be punished. Because in reality, what's also happening alongside the patriarchal revolution that's occurring in the black community is white supremacy no longer needs black women traitor allies. They now have all these illegals that they're bringing up, and they have Latinas and Asian Pacifics. They don't need Nikki Haley and Slamala are proof that they no longer need black women. Black women, by stabbing black men in the back as feminists, have made themselves culturally and politically irrelevant. And the only game in town is to beg to be taken back by black men. They're going to be singing "Won't You Come Home, Bill Bailey" with a hip hop beat. And you know what? We might say, hell no.
What is the hypocrisy behind Fannie Willis? But before you tell me that, shout out to my man Real Bravado Network for the $10 and in the words of Porky Pig and also Pork Chop Feminists. That's all, folks. What is the hypocrisy?
Well,
what's the hypocrisy behind Fannie Willis and her assassination of Donald Trump?
She's not assassinating Donald Trump. You know, the Boule gave an agreement to Donald Trump, not to Donald Trump, to Joe Biden in the summer of 2020 to support him without anything in return. All the Greek letter, the Divine Nine are behind Biden. They asked for nothing. That's how poorly they negotiate. That's why we've got nothing. The Boule basically said, Biden, we don't need anything. That's what the degenerate, that despicable Roland Martin and them, they said nothing for their loyalty. Okay, now, so Fannie Willis is a Divine Nine person who is trying to destroy Trump. And in reality, she has come up under the pussy worship bubble of black men, where black women aren't held accountable because people want access to them sexually. But you see, that's only for black people. When she went after Trump, she went up against white patriarchy. not black male castrated matriarchy.
31.
So
You have a lot of hits, and you're one.
So as a result, she's going to be punished. See, people seem to forget Harriet Tubman got hit. It wasn't a black man buster. It wasn't black men that arrested Rosa Parks. It wasn't black men that beat Fannie Lou Hamer. It wasn't black men that burned Daisy Bates' house. It wasn't black men doing all this stuff. This was white men. Black men have literally shielded black women from the worst that white men can do. But once they jump out there as the lead, and if they ever get wrong, they will be dealt with like black men. And a lot of black women, that's foreign because they've got the black men in jail. The police murder the black men. Black women, a lot of them don't face the same repercussions because they're women. But once you're in a position of power and authority, and you go up against white power, they will deal with you like they do a black man. And I think that's good because a lot of black women, I learned this at Harvard. I was told black women are a separate race from black men and were treated better. And they told them, we like you, we just don't like black men. And black women took that deal. Now that covenant's broken because they have replacements. They only have permanent interests and temporary friends. These black women that think that they made it, that they could play ball and be one of the boys, provided they didn't do too much for black men, they now will pay. This is Judgment Day for the traitor black women. And it's Nuremberg for pork chop feminists. I love it. So she thought that she fought to be in that position to go after Trump to prove something. And now she's going to pay. And it won't just be her. It will be Letitia James. It's going to be a lot of people. See, people forget. I believe unless they have a coup, unless Biden can start this war to help the GCP, that stands for God's chosen people. If we don't get a full-scale war, Biden's going to lose. Trump's vindictive. A lot of these people in the Justice Department and other places, they're going to be prosecuted. And I believe they may actually do something that's going to be a reverse. What are they going to do? They may get black American first men and put them in and have black men prosecute these off-code traitor sisters. Not only that, Project 2025, it's this whole welfare reform thing that these people want to do. They're about to knock the legs off the table of black female rebellion that I don't need no man, because you're not going to be able to get Section 8 or SNAP or WIC or any of that unless you're with the man. And you're going to have to find a viable man with a real marriage to get it. And you know what? It's not going to be me. I ain't married. It's going to be so interesting. There's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. It's going to be an earned punishment. So Fannie Willis is going to be a high-profile example of the execution of white male retaliatory justice. And Donald Trump will be singing like we do in the Pentecostal church. Satan thought he had me, but I got away.
Dr. Shaw, I don't know if you have any children, man.
I wish. I don't, but I hope to. Even at this, you know what? It's everything's still working, and if they're 30 years younger, that's cool too. And I had some sister question me: "Is my dick my choice?"
Let me ask you a question, Doc. If your son was a young man living in America, what would you tell your son about American women and what to look out for?
My son, knowing what I know, because I first went to Brazil in my 20s, my son would not marry any woman that came from a broken home, a matriarchal family system. In fact, I would frown on them marrying an American. If things are like they are now, I would take my son as early as 7 and 8 and maybe have him in an international school so he has options. By the way, sir, my mother told me in 1969 she didn't want me to marry these young women that she saw. My mother told me that these women were betraying the black community. My mother told me this.
Wow.
By not raising their daughters to be ladies, to be wives, to be helpmates. And my mother told me, don't ever feel like you have to marry a black woman for me to accept her. I could barely talk. I still remember it. But my mother told me, don't be surprised, son. They're not going to appreciate you. Don't worry. You don't have to waste your time on them. That's what my mother told me over 50 years ago. I thought that was, what is she telling me this? I can barely play. But she told me. I would tell my son, I personally, at the top of the list of people I don't want you to marry would be an American white woman. Absolutely not. We'd have to really work on a black American woman. In fact, if a black American woman doesn't completely love her father, run away from her like your Richard Pryor on fire after his his freebase went bad. Run away from any woman that does not worship her father.
I think that was great advice. What role did your father have in your life, Dr. Short?
Well,
my
father was here the whole time, and my father and mother met at a gospel concert that my father had for his singing group called the Faith Brothers, and the lead singers were David Hood and my cousin Frankie Gay, younger brother of Marvin Gaye, were the lead singers for the group. My father and mother met in 1956, married in 1961, right? And so my father and mother, they married. They're the only people that they knew, and they were together basically 60 years. My father's deceased.
So it's safe to say your father was influential.
Yeah, I mean, of course. My father was a good person. My father's a very good person. My father was a minister. My father was a decent person. My father wasn't caught up in this macho garbage. My father was honest with us about incest and pedophilia and all this other garbage out here. And my father didn't like feminism and so forth. And so my father warned us about things. And not everybody listens. My deceased brother didn't listen. So he married a pork chop feminist. He died young at 53.
Wow.
Yeah, and terrible wife. And I don't speak to her. I don't care. Tell her I said it.
What do you say, Doc, to those that are optimists? You know, I grew up in a Pentecostal church like you did, Doc, and there was a man by the name of Bishop Charles E. Williams. And Bishop Charles E. Williams said there was a difference between that's what's clean. And these are the words of the great Bishop Charles E. Williams. Hold tight.
Between clean and unclean, put a difference between the holy and unholy. Y'all ain't gonna talk to me. There's a difference between a dog and a cat. There's a difference between a sheep and a goat. There's a difference between a son of the devil and a son of God. Y'all ain't gonna talk to me.
Well, I agree, but you know, it's a part of degenerate black culture is that there's no separation between sacred and profane, right? And the Bible tells us to do that. That's one of the big things. That's why there are a lot of folks that see the women do it. A good man that would honor them is held in the same account as a bad dude that would screw them and slap in the face with the penis and run with their purse. He's the same as. That's satanic, a Luciferian, ungodly, unregenerate, unrenewed mind. So, I said to you, the problem in the black community isn't black or white. It's Satan or Christ. Who are you for? Righteousness and holiness? Are you for degeneracy and sin? Racism is sin. White supremacy is sin. Anybody into that? Black people believing that they're inferior. God says he made everything good. A black person that believes he's inferior to a white is as a sinner. He's an abomination against God. He says that God's wrong. And that's a lot of black people. They go to church and run after a white little homoerotic L'Oreal hair, blue-eyed Jesus, and think if they get close to some, some effeminate Aryan nations looking Jesus, that they're somehow going to make it to heaven. Worshiping white people is as satanic as worshiping the devil openly, as Baphomet or Jubala, the thing that they have in the masonry. So, black folks are going to have to decide, are you going to be with Christ or against Christ? It's one or the other. And by the way, women who get rotten men are actually giving their bodies to Satan. Remember, if you're looking at Romans 8, you're supposed to give your body as a modest sacrifice to God, to be disciplined. That's what's to be expected of godly people. Unholy is as unholy does. If you're sleeping with dogs, it's because you're a dog. And you're breeding unrighteous, unholy offspring. Marriage was created to bring up godly, God-fearing, righteous children. These people that make all this bastardy, they're the ones that fill up the courts. They're the ones in special ed. They're the ones committing suicide. They're the ones in juvie hall. They're the ones on drugs. They're the ones in gangs. They're the ones that carjack. We have reproduced wickedness by not choosing righteousness. In fact, we have a lot of our people who have a covenant with death through satanic lifestyles. That's what we have now. And we'll use other sociological language. No, it breaks down to sin. There wouldn't be an AIDS problem if you didn't sin. I was in the hospital, people checking. You want to check for AIDS? Waste your time. Go ahead. I've never had anything. I will have nothing. And, you're black and they keep looking. You've been in the hospital and I had people come in puzzled. He's black. Why does he have this? I told him I've never had cold sores either. No herpes, none of it. No HPV. I'm not going to have it. And the people almost mad. I had a little Jewish doctor named Dr. Lesko who tested me for AIDS without my consent. He was mad I didn't have it. I have no AIDS. I have nothing. When you live clean, certain things don't happen to you. A lot of black people having problems in this country and they're attributing it to racism. No, it's sin. You're nasty. Why you driving drunk? Why you got dope in your car? Why isn't your gun registered? You wouldn't have to pay child support for a baby that's not yours if there wasn't tangible proof that you screwed the woman. I mean, a lot of this stuff is choices. You choose wickedness, you pay. Doesn't it say the wages of sin is death, but the way of God is righteousness and peace? A lot of our people have chosen the wages of death and then bitch about it. And we're supposed to run around and carry signs and protest when it catches up with them. Hell no.
No, I totally agree.
Hell no.
This has been a good show. Who do you think is going to win the 2024 election? And what is some of the chicanery that you think?
Who do I think is going to win again? Donald Trump won in 2020. Donald Trump is going to win again, and they may steal it from him again. Look, Biden just won an uncontested primary in South Carolina. And at his celebration event, they didn't have 100 people. Do you really think if Donald Trump, when they have the primary later this month in South Carolina, that Donald Trump would have anything less than 20,000 people? I mean, actually, that's too small. Donald Trump's celebration party in South Carolina is probably going to be 100,000 people strong. Compare that to the 100 people that turned out for Biden. Biden got 30,000 votes in South Carolina, uncontested. Donald Trump will get 3 or 4 times that many people to show up for the rally. God forbid what the voter numbers will be. Donald Trump won last time. Donald Trump will win this time. Will he get elected? I don't know. I think Donald Trump, in fact, if we black men and you Wazi sisters, you good, righteous black women, I would marry a Wazi. But no, I wouldn't marry a pork chop. I don't care. No way. If the good black people do one of two things, they can do an ass vote, which is stay home, or they can do an active vote and go out and vote for anybody but Biden. But preferably, if you want to crash the machine, if you want to punish the boule, if you want to bring this thing down, every vote that we cast for Trump will destroy this. And a lot of black folks say they care about one party or the other. Let me tell you this. If the Republican Party were 10% black, the Republican Party would split because the super racist whites wouldn't want to be in a party that wasn't a really white party. And that would make black people powerful. We're stupid. We should, not all, we should split our vote like Jews do. Enough blacks should be in the Republican Party to fight for policies that we want. The same way that they're Jews are the libertarians, they're Jews are the communists, they're Jews are the Greens. They understand be everywhere and wherever you are, stand. Okay, I was on this libertarian show and he asked me what black people need. I told him they need reparations. Yes, I said that on a libertarian show. What, you think because I'm black and Republican, I'm still black? You say nigga behind my back. I want my MFM. And he and I've never been invited back on the show, but you know I kicked his behind through scripture. I beat his behind on his show, on his white libertarian show, talking about black reparations. And well, he tried to say, well, it's in the past. It says, well, the Holocaust is in the past. You're for Jews getting it. Right. You're for the Japanese getting it. Right. You're for the Indians getting it. I'm part Indian. I don't get that. Okay. Right. I mean, and so I pointed to the Bible. I says reparations is biblical. You like the story of Jesus and Zacchaeus? Did Zacchaeus get saved before or after he paid the people he robbed? After. After he paid the people back 4 times what he took. That's when Jesus says salvation will come to you and your house. You are saved because you paid the people back. Reparations is biblical. Jesus practiced it. If I think Jesus is God and he's perfect, if reparations was right for Zacchaeus, it's right for America. Right? I said Pharaoh's people paid reparations to the Hebrews. Didn't it say he spoiled them after the plagues? Reparations is biblical. If you can't be a Christian and be against reparations. Jesus Christ was a reparation for sin and shame. The Bible is based on reparations for the righteous. Heaven is a reparation for the suffering of this present life. Yes, our very religion is based on reparations. How dare anybody tell me that reparations is wrong? In fact, if reparations is wrong, God is wrong.
I like that, man. That's a different way of looking at it. We're going to end the stream, Doc, but before we end it, man, thank you for your insight. What'd you get from the show?
Oh, I hope I got some donations. I hope I got some donations. I hope, and let them know that my email is my PayPal and my Zelle. Help me celebrate my birthday. I want a good birthday.
But guys, y'all see Dr. Short. Hit him on the Cash App at Dr. Randy Short. And go check out the Angry Man's Book Club.
That's right. Black Man. And I put the color in there.
Right. And what'd you get from the conversation, Doc?
We need to come back and do a whole Trump thing. There was a lot to talk about. You had to feel me out. Okay, we need to do another one and just have the notice, and that way we can push this. And next time, I'm thinking you need to meet some other people. I want to ask you to be a part of the new United Black Media Matrix. And that's where we get multiple platforms to put messages out, because there are other people with big platforms, but they don't help one another.
That's true.
If I had 100,000 people, I wouldn't be against you coming on. It's not going to kill me to help you or to help the next person.
Right.
We have to learn how to think like a nation, like a people. You're not my competition. CNN
Yes, sir.
is.
Right,
Mother Zuckerberg is my competition.
right.
And Vivek Ramaswamy, who I call vasectomy, he's my competition, not you. What I got from this is that we have a lot to do, and we need to be real. And the way to freedom is God and us united in righteous purpose. And if God be for us, who can be against us? And by the way, what I also like is that you got a wonderful audience. I saw them send all those donations to you. I mean, my audience, man, y'all are stingy. God's gonna get y'all. God's gonna get y'all for being so stingy.
Well, you know what I'm gonna do, man? Wait, let me know your birthday. I'm gonna give you something for your birthday.
It's Friday the 9th. If you don't like Alice Walker,
text me for your birthday.
Okay.
I'm gonna drop you some. I'm gonna show you some love, man.
Okay, good. And do it for me, because I'm fighting against Alice Walker. You know how you see the Terminator, and there was the good Terminator and the bad Terminator? It's reversed. Alice Walker was the first Terminator. I'm trying to take Alice down. And so yeah, we need to do. I'm down for talking with you, and I need to introduce you to my guy from North Carolina, whose name is Juan. He's a reverend, and he's a firearms expert. And we've got all of these people doing stuff. We need to form a patriarchal effort. People who love the community, but we're against feminism and baby killing and all this stuff. We can't have it. And people who believe in God. Yeah. And you know what? The lack of Christianity and patriarchy is killing Black people. Patriarchy is God's divine order. And you know what? I meet a lot of confused Black men that think it's cool, hating the Bible, hating God. There's a difference between crooked, no good preachers and the fake stuff in the church with all the fat sisters with the ripples in their behind with the tight skirts, and a true faith in God. Everything we've gotten has come from God, and we need to get back to God. We've got to get back to Him. So let me let you go. And on behalf of the Angry Black Men's Book Club and SALT Ministries, LLC, SALT stands for Salvation and Liberation Temple. Be in touch as well. You're a professional counselor. I know people that would like to talk to you. So let's see what we can do. It's wonderful you're in North Carolina. We want to see something move all up and down the East Coast. And let me do a Donald Trump impersonation before I send you off.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I want to thank everybody that listened to this guy. He was so wonderful. Because I'm going to win. I'm the one that really likes Black people. Hey, I hang with rappers. I really like it. I'm not like the other white people that have no Black friends. I have partied with Black people. I've made love to some very beautiful women that were very huge, if you know what I mean. And I really turned it out. I need you to vote for me because Joe, he didn't do anything for you. He didn't do anything for himself. He can't even change his own Depends. I mean, at least I know how to get on the crapper and take care of myself. My wife doesn't look like Alice Cooper. What'd you say, guy? His wife looks like Alice Cooper without the makeup. So, put me back in the White House. You're going to have cheap gas. The price of food's going to go down. We're going to help the Jews beat up the sand niggers. And we're going to have a great time. Just vote for me. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get rid of Letitia James and Fannie Willis and Kamala Harris. She can go back to doing tricks with her beard husband. And this is going to be right. No more shutdowns. Just come out and vote. Don't let the people tell you I'm a racist. I'm not a racist. I hate everybody. It doesn't matter if you're not rich. Anyway, let me let you go.
All right, listen, man. God bless you, man. Text me. I'm gonna shoot you something for your birthday.
Okay, I will. Thank you. All right.
Shoot you something, man.
See you. All right.
God bless you.
God bless. Bye bye.
All right.
We finished. That was a marathon. 3 hours. I'm gonna take a nap, and I guess eventually we're gonna do some books. I've been saying that, but I want to work on my channel. I want to get us to the 1,000 people. I'm over 800. All of y'all need to share and recommend that people subscribe. If you can't donate, send this thing around. Send it around. Send it around. Share it. Pretty soon I'm going to be with Sister Sean, me and the Wazies and the Wabros and the Angry Black Men and the Coon Busters. We're all doing this. And I want to say this before I go. Y'all should know my Cash App is Dr. Randy Short. You should know my Patreon. I mean, that's been lagging. Y'all let me know that y'all don't appreciate me. That's Dr. Randy Short. You know that you can send me a Zelle or a PayPal at WRandy Short. You can send me Cash App through Randy L. Short. I've got two of them. You can also send me Zelle through Randy Randy Short at Yahoo. I've got all kinds of donation things I need to send something. Send fast. And my birthday is Friday. Come on, make somebody happy. Don't you enjoy this? I've been on here 3-4 hours. Come on. And I want to thank the people that send $2. You know, there are a lot of people that wouldn't think to send one. Even if you had to rent a movie, you would watch some. Oh, come on. With no commercials, please. So again, $ Dr. Randy Short. $ Dr. Randy Short is the Cash App. Send something, make it rain. It helps my jokes. On top of that, email me if you have a question at wrandyshort@gmail.com, which is my Zelle and PayPal as well. If you have suggestions for shows or guests, please let me know. They may not do my channel, but I'll be farming them to others. We are working to we hope to get about 20 different platforms to work together. That way, theoretically, we would be able to talk to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100,000 people each time. That's what we aim to do. If you're a man, I'm going to be sending out a survey. We're trying to have a Patriarch Summit for all of you that want to help bring patriarchy back. You're tired of carjacking, you're tired of baby killing and all this other stuff, then you need to be a patriarch. We will have a Wazi auxiliary because we do want to work with the good Black women. It's just the bad ones. Please stay away. We don't want you. We're going to have signs up in German. Feminists not wanted. And it would be feminist erwünscht, which in German means feminist unwelcome. Feminisme erwünscht. So it's all going to be in Gothic letters, like in Germany, that we don't want any feminists. Don't bring any feminists. We don't want you. We're going to get rid of you. Feminism is going to be run away. It's going to be run down. The books are going to be burned. We're going to be delivered from feminism. It's evil. It is ungodly. It's bad for women. It's bad for babies. It's bad for pets who are being asked to substitute in the position of men. That's wrong. We need your cooperation. So I'm going to be sending around a survey. I'll probably be putting it up through my YouTube announcements as well through Facebook. And I'll be sending it to you directly if I'm certain that you're a male. If you're lying, we don't want any trans. We're going to have to figure out what to do because I'm certain there are going to be tethers that want to join. I don't know how to do about that. But please subscribe, like, share, ring the bell. Come on. Shoot. And donate. And we have had, and I bet you by the end of this week, we're going to be at 40,000 people. By the end of this month, we will have reached 100,000 people. 100,000. We've already reached that on Q's channel. Thank you, Brother Hannibal, for donating. We will have, between my channel and Q's, we have 150,000 views. We aim to begin to generate views in the millions. It will happen. The algorithm be damned, and we're going to keep doing it the way we feel like doing it. I really just don't care. The freedom of expression, the freedom of ideas, we must do that. I continue to get books. I continue to want to share. I'm going to try to get back on top of that. I took a break to do genealogy. I was so happy to find out this incredible bloodline runs throughout my family and families that a lot of us share. Some of you guys are my relatives. Some of you are children of Charlemagne as well. It's amazing who we are. I'm going to let everybody go. May God bless and keep you. May his face shine upon you. We need our MFM. Be a coon buster, be a patriarch, be a wazi, enlighten somebody, love somebody, respect somebody. And should I let my beard grow in? Because I was thinking, I've been shaving, but it's been growing. Should I let my beard grow in and put on my Ayatollah look? Or should I just go clear face and put on some depilatory? I haven't figured out because, I don't mind the beard. I mean, it doesn't bug me. So maybe I should let it grow out, but I'll think. Anyway, Dr. Winters and I am supposed to do a show. We got to get back to it. So anyway, I want to thank everybody. Hi, Theodore Andrews. Hope you're good. Drop me a call. I don't know if you're in Korea, wherever you are. Anyway, treat me like I'm white. We're going to do some stuff tomorrow, and we're going to do stuff. We're going to begin to try to get these regularly so this can continue. So I'm going to let y'all go. Good night, good night, good night. Donate, like, subscribe, support, donate, like. Come on, help me out. And it's my birthday Friday. What are y'all going to do? Y'all need to send me something for my birthday. I'll be the big 59. Do you guys realize a year from Friday, I'll be an elder if nothing bad happens to me? Anyway, I don't think anything will. I trust God. I think that was 2022. I'm so glad 22 is over. All right. Talk to you later. Bye. Let me see. Let me get this thing ready, y'all. Let me get this ready. I got to take pictures because they lie about the number of people that I have watching these things. So I take pictures because YouTube lies. And they tell me it's one number. And when I come back later, it tells me it's a number way smaller than what this thing did. So I just document it.